My mic is working. Test 1 2. Looking good. Levels are nominal. Welcome to my VO Megaloldy Giga Chads. I love y'all very much. I really do. I hope that you guys have been appreciating, in particular, the more segmented, shorter streams that we've been doing. At first, I was kind of thinking, shorter streams kind of feels like I'm doing less work or something like that. But I think shaving off the 2 to 4 hours extra and really putting that into prep time and into thinking before the show about what it is that we'll talk about, and going out and trying to find things outside of the Twitch politics realm to discuss like we did in the last show, I actually think that that's more rewarding for me personally more fulfilling. I'd be interested in hearing what your thoughts are on the new segments and show style. Leave a comment, let me know. Of course, wait until the end of this before telling me whatever insightful thing it is that you have to say, but I read all of them. So I do appreciate those comments. Today we'll be looking at comments from Discord instead, because I did get some insightful stuff on the Discord, so I'm sharing the love around a little bit, but just know I do appreciate you. Streamer House, yes, so bit of a clickbait in proper Booksmarts fashion. We have this huge dono goal because I was doing some thinking, some introspecting. We had a little bit of a doomer moment at the end of the last stream, partially spurred on by, chatters being rude to me. But, it's tough to blame a forest fire on the person lighting their cigarette and, a field of dry shit. I think to some extent, to prevent them moving forward, we need to handle the dry shit. So I took a lot of time to contemplate about why I felt so down and whatever, and we'll talk about that a little bit more today. But part of solving that is going to be putting out the fires that are going in my life to make sure they don't turn to big blazes. One of those fires, one of those fields of dried plant material that could easily catch, is my financial situation. It's really tough to stream every day and spend my time streaming when I know that I could be doing essay writing, making a lot more, and probably doing better things for my life. But, streaming has supported me for a long time, and it has been a job that is a really cool one, and it has a lot of room for growth and whatever. So, I'm going to sound like a broken record. I've said all that before. What this Streamer House thing is the money that I want to save for when I get back to the U.S. moving into a place. So this is going to cover my first, last deposit, moving costs, all the costs associated with moving. And if I'm able to hit this goal, then I won't have to sell my motorcycle and stuff when I get back home, because that's a really sad thing to have to do. And if we exceed this goal, it may even be possible to consider moving to California, staying by family, staying by friends, staying by my support network. And, I think that would be a much safer place to be. So I think it's totally possible to hit this goal. I'll be plugging it like a motherfucker. I know a lot of you are lurkers, so I'm going to shake you down for all that you got. It's going to be one of those kinds of months. I'm going to spend the next month or so really hammering away at this to try and get it done, and by feeding the people that feed me. And that would include this BXBullet doc, which actually was something, if you remember from the last stream, Ciro, known oiler on the channel, donated $100 and said he wants me to look at this BXBullet video. We won't look at her video because it's over an hour long, and the Booksmarts multiplier on content, that means it would take forever to get through it. If we get a bunch of donations and people really want that, then I'm happy to do it, but I think we could just read the TwitLonger and get the gist of it. I think that's why she designed it that way. But yeah, so we'll talk about my contemplation arriving at these conclusions, that BXBullet document, and we'll also begin the MrGirl versus Brittany Simmons proper, reporting arc, where I'm putting into practice a lot of the things that I've learned through Drama Team and the opinions of my drama correspondents, and we'll finally be cracking away at that arc. And hopefully within the next few days, we'll be completely done with it. So we will have cleared it. I'd like to get a lot of it done tomorrow, and then be done with it. But I think this first video on abuse is definitely something that we should watch in full. So we'll do that first. Welcome, Cats. Welcome, everybody. Good to have you. Caught a bookie stream live for the first time in a while. PogChamp. Yeah. In case it's not clear, I'm also trying to stream at times that I know will be more convenient for my American friends and my European friends alike. So today in Sweden it is 7:42 p.m. I'm streaming from Linköping in Sweden. It always throws my mind for a loop to try to pronounce that correctly. Hopefully I'm doing better each stream, but that's where we're at. And if we hit $200, 200 big ones, we will do an extra review. We will go line by motherfucking line through 2 of the Deepak versus Knowles video interviews. Now that combines for a total of around 35 to 40 minutes of content, which you know how I stretch it. So if you'd like to help us, if we can hit 200 of that $2,000 goal today, then we will unlock that extra content. We'll take a look at Deepak v. Knowles. It's something I'm personally interested in. I think that it's interesting to see the difference in performance between the two talks and the contrasts between them. So that's why I've thrown it up there as our bonus goal. In the meantime, before the show starts, to let people roll in, I will switch. Whoa! Thank you. I do appreciate that. Good to have you. I appreciate your sub. Let me check and see who that was. That would be pizza on pineapple. Certainly a preferable combo than pineapple on pizza. With the 4 months, thank you for your Prime. If you have Twitch Prime, you can link it to your Amazon account. Or, I messed that one up. If you have Amazon Prime, you can link it to your Twitch account and you get a free sub every month. And that's what pizza used on me. I do appreciate it. Makes me feel real special. Another thing that should hopefully make you feel special is I have gone through and dug up some new tracks for us to listen to. If you are a Booksmarts OG viewer, this may be an oldie for you, but we actually haven't played it in, I think, over a year. It is by Jacob Sampson, our previous resident DJ on the channel, the very first musical artist to give me the ability to use their stuff. They exist in the Great Hall of Fame with, Picto Chad and Kent Osborne and others. If you are an aspiring musician, you'd like to get your stuff out there, you can feel free to DM me on Twitter, DM me on Discord. My DMs are always open, and I would be happy to talk with you about getting it on the show. But that being said, this is Jacob Sampson's Rock With You. Enjoy. All right. There you go. That's Rock With You by Jacob Sampson. We're also digging up another Jacob Sampson oldie. A little bit more of a chill vibe, this one. This is going to be a recent post from him in the last month. It is As the Leaf Falls. Bit of a chill piece. Enjoy. You enjoyed that one. That is As the Leaf Falls by Jacob Sampson. you can get access to Jacob's music by doing !Jacob. So if you're interested in that, feel free to check that out. However, it's time for the stream. I hope you guys have had a good day. I had a rough one, okay? At the end of last stream, I was a little bit of a grumpy Gus, a little bit of a little bit of a grumpy poo, a little bit of a, I'm mad. I'm sick of streaming. Oh, I don't make any money. Oh, I'm poor, But, I think that when you have problems or when you have feelings are complicated things. I think it takes some looking at them to figure out what's going on. And then once you figure out what's going on, take some steps to alleviate the issues. So I took this morning to kind of sit with my thoughts a little bit, journal a little bit, see what's going on, see how I can fix it. And what I've kind of been thinking, and let me pull my notes up in front of me because as I said, I journaled it a little bit, and I would encourage you, like, if you ever have problems, if you're ever feeling a particular way, and that's kind of the point of this segment here, right at the beginning. If you're ever having problems, think about them. A lot of the times things can become worse because you're not confronting like the heart of the issue or like what's actually going wrong. And until you look at what's actually going wrong, you're swinging in the dark. And maybe sometimes you hit the perp in the knee or, in the dome, and you get lucky and they go away for a little bit. But there are scary beasties in the dark. And really, it would be better if you had a sense of where they were and you were able to see them and plan around that. So if you're fumbling around in the dark, if you feel a particular way about this issue or that issue, or you just feel bad in general, I would advise that you turn the lights on and look at the thing, even if it's scary, because it's going to help you to defeat it in the long run or push it back for a little bit. And that's what I did. And what's really top of mind for me and what's really scary for me and what makes me consider that I likely will have to quit this or whatever, or like pushes me to that point, is that I am... So I've done a lot of focus on the Discord community stuff, on the drama team stuff, on stuff that doesn't necessarily have any monetary return for me. And so it feels like I'm working a lot. And I'm uber poor. I'm not saving a lot of money, even though the whole point of coming to Europe was to, visit viewers, stay with hosts, find cheap accommodation, and then save up so that at the end of the trip, I would be able to go back to the US, get some stable living, even if that means moving to a cheaper state like North Carolina or somewhere else. And then I could continue this and not have to worry nearly as much about the money that I'm making and whatever. And I could be a little bit more consistent, or maybe even find some other work to do. Go back to writing essays a little bit, save more money, because I'm getting older. I know 25 is not very old. I'll be 25 on June 16th. So if you want to know my birthday, there you go. I'm getting a little bit older, and I'm just seeing that, like, I wish I had more savings. I wish I had a bigger nest egg. I wish I had more stability. Traveling and stuff has been fun, but like I said, I've been doing this since I was like 18. I've seen a lot of the world that I wanted to see. After this trip, I will have seen a ton of Scandinavia, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, right? It should finish off that I'm also able to see the UK. I'll see the Netherlands. I'll see Belgium. I've seen all of the countries I'm interested in seeing in Asia. I've been to Japan, South Korea, Myanmar, Thailand, right? Singapore. So, I've seen a lot. I've done a lot of the things that I think I wanted to do by, my younger years. And I'm getting a little bit older. I wish I had the same place that I knew I would be living in for months. I wish I didn't have to think about where I'm going week by week or month by month, It gets very, very stressful. So what I was talking about at the beginning of the show is when you have a lot of fires going on in your life, you have a lot of things going wrong. Or if you think about your life in terms of this, like, car you're riding on through various kinds of terrain as you progress through life and you go to achieve different kinds of goals. Things break down in the car, know, and when your muffler is rattling and your oil pressure is bad and the check engine light is on and there's smoke coming out of the exhaust and you're overheating and your tire pressure is low and, you know, and so on and so forth, you have a gazillion problems with the car, you're just going to feel shitty all the time. And the more and more things that are kind of off on the car, the more you feel like the entire thing is a lost cause and everything's fucked. And the more that you kind of dip into that feeling, the less likely it is you're going to fix everything. So what I went ahead and did, and what I would encourage you to do, is take an itemized list of all the things that are wrong and see what can be done quick. Well, I might not be able to figure out the oil pressure thing very quickly, but the muffler that is banging around, I could fix with the bungee cord, right? I could just wrap it up and then I don't have that noise at least. You know, maybe the check engine light is on. Let's at least see what the codes are in the car that's causing that. You know, the smoke in the exhaust, I know what the problem is. That's easy to fix, you know, and you just slowly build up the things that you could fix now and the things that need to be fixed later, and then are realistic with yourself about when things are going to get done. One thing that I saw that I could immediately begin working on is, you know, the stream income and stuff. So, you know, the whole point of coming out here to Europe was to save up money to be able to move into my place. Maybe it's better that I put that up front for you guys. I really need support to continue doing this thing. And one thing I touched on in kind of way worse wording yesterday is like, if this thing isn't financially stable for me, I am an adult. I spend a lot of time on this. It cannot continue if I don't make enough to accomplish the bare basic goals. Moving and having a house is a very bare basic goal. If I'm doing streaming, but I can't have stable housing, I should not be streaming, you know, or I should do it way smaller in amount and then take up my time with like a real job. You know, in terms of not feeling fulfilled about streaming or having to cover drama or whatever, I've come up with solutions for all of that, right? The stream has changed in such a way where like, okay, this is a model I could see us doing longer term where everything is segmented. It's laid out for you guys. And so, yeah, like that all is done. And I've had some really good feedback from the community about that. It makes it easier for VOD people to engage if the stream is 3 or 4 hours long. When it's broken up like this, at any point that you jump in the video, you'll see what exactly it is that we're doing. So, you know, in that way, it's becoming more accessible to more people. I'm advising my editor Tack on ways of doing thumbnails and what to do videos on that will be easier for people to engage with. Once I get into Norway, I'm going to look at maybe doing a lot more YouTube content and cutting back on the streaming content, stream 2 or 3 times a week, and then have a lot of videos on the days where I'm not streaming that will be segments from the show, because by segmenting it out, it makes it a lot easier. And that's the plan, Reno. So I have long-term fixes for things like the way the stream is not appealing to a broader audience of people. I can't market it to the people that I meet in real life. We're super niche. You know, talking about things that I want to talk about. Lately, it's all been things I want to talk about. So, you know, I fixed those things. And those are longer-term things, and they'll take a longer term to fix. What is shorter term, as in like a month or 2 or whatever, is the end date for my Europe trip, where I really have to take a hard look at streaming, take a look at this monster in the dark and see it for what it is. And if the monster in the dark, the way to beat it is to quit or to really cut back on it, do a hiatus like Supreme is doing, and focus on other things, because I have to be able to live. I have to be able to pay for food. I have to be able to rent a place and live somewhere that is not changing all the time. Then that's what I'll do. But I'm not giving myself the best chance of fighting that monster if I'm waiting until that deadline and not, you know, coming up with a plan. So here's my plan. I'm you know, setting this dono goal, which of course is not on the screen the entire time I've been talking. My apologies. So there's the dono goal. We also have 2 mini dono goals today. Okay. If we make 200, I will watch the D-Pack thing at the end of this. And of course, I have the wrong fucking chalkboard up as well. But, you know, learning experience, learning moment. We'll watch the entire D-Pack v. Knowles series. There's 2 videos that I want to look at and I already have comments for. And if we get $100 by near the end of the stream, then we'll do the MrGirl video as well. The MrGirl video... Oop, pull focus. The MrGirl video is on YouTube, and I have to watch it only on YouTube because he's banned on Twitch. I'm happy to give my notes and my TLDR and leave it up to my editor to edit in everything into a YouTube video that will be available later. However, if you as the stream people who are watching this live want to contribute to the stream, you hit the $100 mark for today's stream, and I will end the Twitch stream at the end of this and go watch it on YouTube. If we don't, it's no skin off my back. I don't care to do live react, so I will paywall it. And if that's something that you want, then it's something that you can get. Same with the DPAC stuff. I'm not a huge political guy, not hugely into it. I have some points that I'd like to say about that I've already prepared, that I did for fun on my own time. And if you're interested in seeing that, you can support the content. But yeah, we need to make it a more big thing to support the content and really support this endeavor, because like I made a lot more clear when I first started streaming, and I think it helped me with income and it helped me to get more people to financially contribute to the channel. If it doesn't make money, I cannot do it, because it takes so much time to do these streams and to have these conversations the way I like to have them. And I would imagine as viewers, and even via Megalol D Giga Chads in the future, the way you would like to do it. So if you're a via Megalol D Giga Chad and you get this free content all of the time and you really enjoy it and you want to continue to see Booksmarts doing Booksmarts, I would highly advise that you scroll into the description of the channel or go to Twitch at any time. Go in the offline chat, use !dono, get the donation link. Go to Discord, use !dono. You can get the donation link and donate to the stream. Even if it doesn't show up on the stream, I'll shout you out at the beginning of the next stream and you could catch it, even as a VL Megalol D Giga Chad. But you know, you guys too, there's way more of you than there are live viewers at any one point in time. So I would highly encourage you to support the channel, because during this period would be the time, because I think it's fair to you guys to be upfront that I will be reconsidering this entire lifestyle, this entire line of work at the end of my summer trip, which should be end of July roundabouts. I'll go to TwitchCon in Amsterdam, and then after that, I intend to go back to the US and find a place to live. And I will, again, determine that place to live based on what my income is streaming. Thank you. Goobles with the $5. That means we are 1/20th of the way there. To
Draw
your...
happy book hugging his future nest egg. Smiley face. I like the sound of your plan and the direction of the stream.
Oh,
Take
thanks.
care, buddy.
Maybe I'll do a drawing for you later, but we're not doing drawings today. At least it's not that's not the idea. But there you go. You're 5 out of 100 towards the MrGirl Dono goal. That's a mouthful. And if we hit it, then I'm happy to cover that. Otherwise, just give my TLDR, give my notes, give my drama people. Oh yeah. Saint and the other drama people want me to rename the drama team thing, which you can now get by doing !drama team, all one word, and that'll give you info. What's up, irrelevant and irrelevant people?
Brand, don't they? This is magic.
Do a little irrelevant emote. I wish I had cute emotes like you do. I added a bunch, but I feel like they're all goofy and random. Rally people, let me give you a TLDR. Let me give you a quick breakdown. It's important Booksmarts news. If you enjoy Booksmart stuff, we'll let the dono play, because of course it has a lot to do with what I'm about to
Here is some love and support for
about.
some content I love. Do not spend this money buying Monster Hunter. I know you're really tempted, but trust me, you can always buy it and play it in the future. It's never too late.
I can guarantee you I'm not tempted to buy Monster Hunter, but I definitely appreciate that. Actually, now that I know that there's a story to it, I'm low-key tempted as a meme to buy the game and to play it through and try and play it in English.
Let's get the ball rolling, gamers. Bookie, can you treat the stream to a nice pog face? Love you, buddy.
There you go. You got your pog face. To me, the pog face looks like an enthusiastic blowjob face. So I've always felt kind of two minds about it. Yeah, you can use different TTS voices for the TTS, in case you didn't know. It's a stream of my close personal friend, Booksmarts. Yes, I'm everybody's close personal friend, especially the people that financially support me, which brings me to the main topic, irrelevant people. At the end of my trip to Europe, which in case you didn't know, today I'm in Linköping, Sweden. Linköping. And I will be traveling all throughout Europe until the end of July. At the end of July, Booksmarts will be taking a good hard look at the streaming career. does it make enough money to support myself? And by support myself, I mean get an apartment in a nice place, have a decent quality of living, be able to afford fucking food and shit. Does it get me my bare essentials? Because if it doesn't, then I will not continue to do it. I have marketable skills doing other things. I don't think I've been super clear that that's what I intend to do. So that's why our dono goal is huge and why it is what it is over here. So I'm hoping to hit the 2,000 that we need for that goal. By the end of this Europe trip, which again should be the end of July. I don't think that's a stretch to do. I would imagine that if things go as planned and if the streaming thing is a thing that I can do, that we hit it before then. But you know, that'll help me to move. So that's going to cover my first, my last, and the cost of moving. Because if I end up going to a different state, then I'll have to pack up stuff and head to a whole different state and probably buy new shit. However, if we exceed that goal, it's much more likely that I consider streaming seriously and do more time and invest in the YouTube and yada, 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 and maybe just get a room in California. Because while I can't apply and get accepted for apartments, I can apply and get accepted for rooms. So if we exceed that goal, then maybe getting a room or something is a possibility that I'll consider, because the streaming income is enough to be able to live in California, and that would be good to do. I'll play it with you, my dude. Yeah, I know. The Monster Hunter people want me to play Monster Hunter because I keep talking shit about it. Well, checked into stream just in time. Yes, you did. And thank you to the people who just supported with their dollars. I've also talked to my VO Megalol D Giga Chads that, if you like the stream, if you like what I do, if you want me to continue doing it, toss a few bucks my way, be a part of the solution, not the problem. Because again, like, I don't know how clearly I make it on my stream, but like my ability as an essay writer, my ability as a graduate level researcher, I can do that professionally. If I had spent the same number of hours that I had spent on streaming in the last, 2.5, maybe almost 3 years as of this year, if I had spent all that time into really seriously making my essay business what it could be, I would make enough to like live a very fruitful and lovely life where I do things that I enjoy doing. As much as I enjoy the setup of streaming, as much as I enjoy the freedom of it, as much as I enjoy the people that I get to interact with, like Irrelevant and Wicked Supreme and I'm Really Important and my other lovely friends, if I'm making, minimum wage doing it, it's not a long-term thing that I want to keep doing. I have marketable skills doing other things. And I'm not surrounded by peers that are trying to do what I'm doing. I'm not surrounded by a huge community of people supporting me for doing what I'm doing. Like, I do appreciate the people that I have, but it's not at a critical mass necessary to really live off of it. And so, that's just something I'm considering. And I think it would be unfair to you guys if I wasn't clear that that was my intentions. So I just wanted to say all that, to you guys. Booksmarts, would it be worth adding stream-specific dono goals to the chalkboard in addition to your long-term dono goal? Don't know if it may feel cluttered. I could, yeah. Actually, what I can do is this. I can go to the scene that I have with my chalkboard, and I can edit it so that we know where we're at with this goal. 1 second here. Deepak V. Knowles here. Please what I'll do. Thank you. And I'll do this. It's definitely cluttered, but at least people will know what's going on. So I guess that works. What's up, Rated PG? It's what streaming can be that he loves. Well, no, I mean, it's fun. It would just be more fun as a hobby. And I don't think it can be a hobby with the number of hours it takes me to do what I've kind of wrote myself into doing here. I have a code for Monster Hunter Worlds if that's what they're talking about. It is what they're talking about. I'd be happy to take that code off your hands. Yoink. If you're going to react to Mr. Girl, you should stop streaming on Twitch when you do. Twitch bans very easily for it. Yeah, that's the plan. That's why the Mr. Girl thing is behind a donut wall. Is because I'm happy to talk about it, to give you my notes, to give you timestamps to them, to talk about the drama team and what they came up with. But yeah, in terms of watching it, I would have to leave Twitch. It would take a while because, again, you have the Booksmarts multiplier on how long a stream is versus how long the content that we cover is. So if we did all that, it would both extend the stream and it would require moving to YouTube only. So I'm paywalling it. But we're nearly there. I mean, what? We're at 35 now. So 35% of the way there. I think we may very well hit it. But yeah, that's the plan. I'm going to scroll up here, see if I missed anything else. Probably not. Nope. Okay. Off topic, but how did you go about finding essay writing work before? A lot of it is word of mouth. So I would say most of it is word of mouth, but there are also like, what's the term for it? White pages and stuff. Let's see here. Have I covered everything I wanted to in this thing? I think that I have. Oh, one other thing that I wanted to talk about. It's a bit of an interesting woo-woo concept. Have y'all ever seen the video of Robert Downey Jr. talking about when something is... There, I'll just grab it because I'm a Twitch streamer. I could just grab the content. Try to find it here. Here it is. All right, I'll switch to it and I'll show you guys, and then we'll talk about this concept and then we'll move on. Then we'll move on to the BXBullet doc. So somebody yesterday donated 100 and they said they wanted me to look at the BXBullet thing. So we'll read her TLDR TwitLonger of it, and I won't watch the video because it's an hour long. And again, Booksmart's multiplier of content effect, it will be something that takes forever and a half to complete. So not really down for that. But this is an interesting concept that I want to talk about here. From our favorite guy.
Experience.
This concept of things just sort of falling into place. I'm a big believer in that too.
Yeah.
What is that though? Is that you getting out of your own way? Like what is that?
Isn't that 70% of it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say it's 70% maintenance of what can I do to do my part to stay out of the way. And then the other part, I always think of it as like this little super thin invisible thread. But you can feel the tug, and you just kind of, you have to be really gentle, and you have to pause when agitated, and you have to go for it when you go like, there's 4 walls in here, which one has the map behind it? It's that one. And you knock down the wall, and it's there, you know.
Yeah, what is that, though? That's a...
Synchronicity?
Yeah.
Intuition?
But labeling it is...
I'm a weeb, so I'm going to call it the red ribbon of fate, or the red thread of fate. So... this kind of feeling that there is the right thing and you kind of get out of the way and use most of your attention to follow your intuition of what it is that you're doing that should be right. This is a concept that I've talked with several of my hosts about. My hosts that I've had in Europe so far, like especially in the last trip, have been people who are very self-actualized. They know what they're doing. They know why they're doing it. They know that it's right for them, and they're following this kind of intuition of what's clicking for them and using a lot of that as well as like deep planning to realize their goals and to be happy with what they're doing and confident in the direction that they're taking. And that is, to me, a decent guide on what you should do. When I used to do essay writing, that's how I would pick topics, is I would usually look for the thing that interests me, that I felt pulled to, that in my initial reading about the topic, I felt like, ooh, I feel like we're just on the precipice of learning something about this thing. I'm seeing a pattern here emerging that is something that I think I'm uniquely suited to busting through because nobody else is pointing it out. A lot of that had to do with like, behavioral therapy and having kids, a lot of that also carried over into my looking into how to study and how to remember things. And you know, I feel drawn to particular problems, and it's easy to see what I ought to be doing when I am looking for that and trying to really tune into that. However, you know, there is also an opposite thing. There is this weird feeling that you ought not to be doing something, or that what you're doing right now is happening in lieu of something that you ought to be working on instead. And I felt that way when I do a lot of these like react, suffer things and whatever. There's a part of me that like zooms out of my body and depersonalizes and is like, why is this guy doing this particular thing? And it's not that like I think I should be doing something else entirely, because I feel that thread and whatever when I'm doing something like the Supreme Court stream that we did. We listened to oral arguments. I felt that thing, for an example of with a debate with the Richard Wolff thing, where it's like, none of you are seeing what I'm seeing here. And the more that I look at this and the more that I look at quotes of this, the more evident it is to me that my opinion is one that is correct and nobody is saying it. So there was a pull there, and I feel like everything came together. And even in the conversation after the review with Steven, I performed what I believe, and I would hope you would believe because of the way he acted, you know, really in sync with the reality of things, because I was able to support everything that I said with quotes and whatever. And I felt the exact opposite talking with him about other shit where I've been hyperbolic and I said shit that I shouldn't have said and I was being emotional and whatever, right? So these two kinds of contrasting feelings. The more that I look at like, you know, what we're doing with the stream and stuff, I do worry. I get that feeling sometimes that parts of it are not correct, and I do try and correct them. And that's why the content lately has been more things that I'm interested in, that I have something to say about, something to teach about, and we've been focusing on that. So that's the only other concept I left out of my explanation, is that, you know, I'm worried that with, you know, this not being super financially viable, if it's not financially viable, that's something that's pushing me away from it, because I shouldn't have to like suffer or go without in my life in order to do this thing. I don't feel the draw to it, so it's not something I should sacrifice for in that way. Whereas on graduate projects and stuff like that, some of the education projects I took up, I did at a discount because it felt like the right thing to do. It felt like I can say something about this thing, and if I use this person as the voice to carry the message that I have about the research, it might do something good for the field. It might turn into something else. People should hear this. And same with tutoring. I did tutoring at a way discounted rate because I felt like I was able to help a lot of kids' lives by helping work through funks that they're running into and by giving them the tools and the shortcuts to do better at school. You know, and initially I felt that with helping some people with their debate performances and stuff. I do private debate reviews as well. So if you're an Euler in the future and you want me to review something, maybe even if I quit, that's something that I might keep available to you guys. And I might keep the email around for that purpose. But those people have kept the channel afloat for a while as well, and I rarely plug it. I also do tutoring. Every time I plug tutoring, I get people on here that reach out to me for tutoring, and I'm also very happy to do that. It always feels like the right thing to do. And I just so to loop this all the way back around, when you have fires in your life that need to be put out and it feels like there's too many of them, or if life is a car and it seems like every single part of your car is fucked up, the wheel's flat, the muffler is making noises, the oil pressure's low, break it down and itemize it into parts and fix what's possible now and make plans to fix what needs longer term care. And that's what I'm doing. So, you know, I just wanted to take this segment at the beginning of the stream to plug all of the ways that you could support the stream, be transparent with you about my feelings about its viability long term. And yeah, that's about it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and this seems almost mythical. I've heard of this feeling, but it seems perpetually elusive. I think it shows up more the more you do it. If I'm to use another anime analogy, it almost feels like the Black Flash from I forget the anime's name, Jujutsu Kaisen. It almost feels like the Black Flash, like sometimes you hit it, but it can feel very rare a lot of the time. But once you hit it once, the odds of it happening again in a short time period following the first time is higher. And that's why kind of building your decisions around when you feel that thing, when you feel fulfilled, when you feel like it's the right thing to do is worthwhile. Because if it's elusive to you, the more that you do it, the higher the chances that you'll find another thing again. And seeking those moments where it's clear to you that you're doing what you ought to do, I think that's a worthwhile endeavor, a worthwhile compass for, you know, your behavior and whatever. So yeah. Code is in your DMs. Let me know if you're down for some hunts. Yeah, I'll have to let you know, and I'll have to let the people on the Discord know because they really want me to. So yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about with that. Off topic, I already answered that. So yeah, I'm gonna move towards the next topic here, which is the BXBullet document. So this is a long one. This is good. I mean, you know, actually, in terms of manifestos and stuff, I suppose this BXBullet thing isn't all that long technically. Like, sure, it's like 8 or 9 paragraphs or whatever, but they're small paragraphs. I'm Essay Andy. I could handle it, okay? So that's what we'll work on next. Let me go ahead and make sure all my windows here are nominal. Let's take this and put it over here. Over, meow. Do this and then put this over, meow. Put you guys there, close this. All right. And now I should be ready to go with this. And again, I try to move a bit quicker with these streams, keep them short for the VOD people. I'm getting better and better at how complicated the OBS setup is and stuff, but bear with me. Where can I put myself to where I'm not obtrusive? That's the question. We'll put myself up here. So, where should I start with this? Maybe I should start with what BXBullet, maybe I should start with her actual video. So if you want to check out the video, there is a video called Debate Bro Psychology, the Destiny / Alec Baldwin fiasco. What? You mean that conversation that happened a long, long time ago between BXBullet and Steven back when Booksmarts was in Romania? Yes, that conversation. Full transparency here. I have talked with BXBullet in private about this situation on numerous occasions now. And all in all, my advice to her is the same advice that I will put forward on this stream. I think you have to move on from it. I think it was a bad performance, regardless of what the reasons are for it. And I think the longer that you spend dwelling on it, the more unhealthy that probably is for you personally. So my advice for her, like it or not, is like the same advice that I have for Anna, both in public and in private. It would be just like, hey, probably try and let this thing go and move on from it, because regardless of how you feel about it, it's probably bad for your mental and it sucks up a bunch of your energy to keep spending time on it. So, you know, there is this. She says, TLDR, if you can't watch the whole video, please read in all caps. So that's what we will be doing. Because again, it's an hour and I don't necessarily want to. However, we could, if you want to donate $100 or something. I don't know. Zero from our YouTube community yesterday donated 100 so that I cover this, and this is me making good on that donation. Granted, it wasn't a donation goal or anything. Zero just hops up out of the blue and is like, hey, I think you should read this thing. So we'll go ahead and read it. You're not intrusive in my walls. Yeah, okay. So let's see here. So it's titled, and let me make sure I'm not covering this. Oh, I am covering this. All right. Let's keep in mind where my stuff is. Okay, so it's titled DGG Collective Egos and Why Online Political Spaces Need to Change Now. They need to change now. Happy to be here, Book. What's up, Parker? So she says, people keep asking me why my content has changed, and I figured they deserve an explanation. Well, I can't count myself in that batch of people, so maybe this isn't written for me, but let's continue. Today, I released a video response to an encounter I had with Destiny last year. Yes, it was quite a while ago. Which I have nicknamed the Alec Baldwin fiasco, that I had been holding off on for quite some time. That encounter was frustrating and upsetting for me, but clearly not for the donator, who has given us $5, Dunk Pacino.
Hey, Booksmart, speaking of anime, a couple minutes ago, Land of the Lustrous Mango is coming off hiatus next month.
Nice. I have not read it, but I watched all through season 1. That's one that maybe I will be tempted to read it. Because as much as I enjoy the animation in it, I don't know if I necessarily need to have it animated. I think I could probably read it. So if it's off hiatus, that's great. Maybe I'll start reading it and then turn it into a weekly thing. Not sure. But thank you for the $5. All right, back to this. So they said here, that encounter was frustrating and upsetting for me, and it led to an oddly disproportionate amount of hate and toxicity being hurled my way by DGG and other adjacent communities. I became overwhelmed by the negativity of the space, and I needed to break. So here's one thing that I will say. Let's remove the DGG part of this because I don't want to upset you guys, and why I don't want to upset you has to do with what I'm about to say next. When you make a mistake on the internet, and you are a public figure, you receive a lot of criticism. And when you're an accessible public person on the internet, you receive even more. You probably receive an amount of hate somewhat proportional to the amount of access that people have to you. So I have a bad thing with Destiny or another big creator, and I get DMs, I get Reddit posts about me, I get people being rude on my Discord, and I get people coming in my Twitch chat and saying stupid things. And, you know, I don't mean to take away from her message here, but it is multiple communities. It is not just DGG. It is often tough to trace where these people are coming from. They make random throwaway accounts to tell you things, you know. It's tough to know just how many people it is, just where they come from. So I've learned to be more careful about attributing where they're coming from, but it does happen, and it's really hard to deal with. It is, and you guys don't think so, but I will tell you as a streamer, and maybe as somebody that you trust, it hurts. It hurts to even see people in your own community shitting on you, you know? So just bear that in mind next time you decide to make a meme or share it about, you know, somebody. It may be funny when you consider that they're just characters and whatever, but a lot of the time they see it and it can really have a huge impact on you, which is another reason why I would encourage her not to keep bringing this up and whatever, because it will just stir those people up more and more each time that you do it. And I don't think it's helping you with the people who are already kind of on your team about the way that something went, right? So that's something that I think you should keep in mind as a creator. I became overwhelmed by the negativity of the space. I needed a break. I have also been dealing with multiple serious health issues over the past year and knew my focus needed to shift towards healing and taking better care of myself, which I totally advocate that she does. That's a worthwhile place to put your energy and time. So I chose not to watch Destiny's video titled Destiny Snaps Burn Bridge versus Gun Expert Republican Debate. It's a hell of a title, August. Instead, I decided to take some time to self-reflect on how I interact with others and on the direction my content should take. Worthwhile? I also began planning my new YouTube content, the Rabbit Hole series, and the Deep Program America podcast, and in doing so, my perspective about society began to transform. Good to hear. I became fascinated with human behavior, just as I was fascinated with the large amount of this donation. Wowee. Why?
We'd love to have a segment in the future on your favorite U.S. cities that you've lived in if you think you have some cool insights about settling down there, visiting temporarily, etc.
Huh. There's a thought. If the decision at the end of this trial period, at the end of the summer, is that I want to keep doing content creation, I think it may be likely that I shift into doing more like YouTube-focused content, which is also why I'm trying to do more interviews and stuff. A lot of it is not making it into like public YouTube videos because I don't have good editing software with me. Because I have Sony Vegas, but yar har fiddly dee, it exists on an HDD hard drive that I don't have with me. Yar. So I'm not able to edit a lot of stuff right now, but I'm getting better at filming, because if I'm not good at filming, then I'm not going to be good at the YouTube stuff. But yeah, I'm working on that. So maybe, I mean, I could definitely do some YouTube videos about different cities. When I moved to the US, at the end of the summer, regardless of how the streaming stuff goes, I'll be in a position to visit some different U.S. cities, especially things on the East Coast, and talk about them. Of course, I have experience with others, but I'm not living in them per se. I've spent more time living in other countries oftentimes than I have other states. But yeah, maybe that'll be helpful to some people. Thank you for the 35. Why? Definitely appreciate that. That's huge. Big if true. So where did we leave off here? Yes, here. So she's refocused her content. She became fascinated with human behavior and psychology. And more specifically, she began to study crowd psychology and how to better understand certain personality types. And many times during my 3-year-long journey as a content creator, I felt that achieving my goal of helping people see things in a different way was pointless. I can feel that. It began to feel like I was talking to hundreds of brick walls every time I went live. When I began engaging with the Twitch politics space, I often felt I didn't really belong and that everyone hated me. As neither a liberal nor a conservative, which a little bit of a meme, a little bit of controversy there. I don't know if I would agree with this framing, but okay. People didn't understand how to engage with me and therefore tended to become overly hostile or ignore me altogether when I refused to adopt the stance they expected from me. I became frustrated, began to notice that I was adopting some negative and oftentimes toxic habits as a result. Ultimately, if I wanted the space to be better, I needed to be better myself. Self-improvement is a slow process, and I've certainly had some relapses. There have also been many ups and downs, sleepless nights, and time spent worrying about the future of my channel. So far, we've had a very long introduction here. And I often have this problem stylistically with BXBullet, both in private and in public with, how she writes. A lot of I, me, when you want to talk about something broader. But, maybe it's just an update video for her community. That seems to be what it says up at the top here. And if that's the case, I'm just not the target audience for it because I don't follow her and I don't care about a lot of this. And I disagree with a lot of the stuff she says. So, well-made YouTube content is a much better, more reliable traffic driver than Twitch. I hope it goes well. Yeah, me too. All right. Forgot that was just the intro. Well, I mean, we're about a third of the way through. We'll see if it was just an intro. A few days ago, I stumbled across a new video referencing the Alec Baldwin fiasco. I am so glad I did not respond to the controversy that right away. I am now able to see the whole situation. So, again, if I have to line by line this shit, I'm going to call out some weirdness. You did respond to the controversy right away. I don't know. I am now able to see the whole situation in new light from the initial encounter to the extensive fallout. Surprisingly, I'm not angry anymore. Rather, I'm beginning to understand the complex social dynamics at play here and am able to extend that understanding to the broader society. I really hope that this new video referencing the Alec Baldwin fiasco is not my video that I had her watch. Because I have a feeling that if it's the same stuff we talked about, that it's not going to have anything to do with my video. Rather, I'm beginning to understand the complex social dynamics, yada, yada. To this day, many people still send hate my way over my discussion with Destiny about the Alec Baldwin Rust shooting last year, going so far as to invalidate my expertise on guns and safety, myself included. I am in that bucket of people. However, it was actually a simple lie told by Destiny to his viewers after I'd left the call, combined with deceptive and manipulative framing, which led to his audience believing a completely false narrative about the encounter. Well, what I feared has come true. It appears she's going to say the same stuff she told me. Well, let's give her a shot. Perhaps there was a great lie that was told and has manipulated people. Is Bullet gaslighting us about her not responding? I think maybe she means that she didn't do like a full-on like video about the conversation or something like that. But I don't follow BXBullet content, so I really couldn't. I can't comment on this, and I'm afraid to. I've learned my lesson. I touched the hot stove that was doing talking shit way beyond what I knew about Steven. And I definitely got burned. And ever since then, I've tried to be much, much better about this. I hope you see that in the way that I carry myself, because I am working on it. So if you're a DGGer in here and you were like, Book, I watch you, but that was really fucking bad and you shouldn't have said that stuff and whatever, I am working on myself, okay? So I don't know about this, but I could swear that I've heard her talk on her stream immediately after about it. So I don't know about this, but you know, I'm not going to make a hard stance one way or the other. This debacle is a perfect example of coercive persuasion by a manipulative and influential person with a large audience. Well, I hope we explain that in a little bit here. The DGG community is an example of a toxic collective ego, which can be viewed as a type of hive mind, where the group does not think or act independently, but rather as a single entity with one goal, operating as an extension of their leader. The members of such a collective do not consider the consequences of their actions, nor do they give any moral consideration to the harm they cause to others. DGG is just one of many collective egos that occupy our favorite online spaces. So to this point, I think these hive minds... Okay, so let's start here. Is a streaming community a bit of a hive mind that centers around a central person that tells them what to think or how to act or whatever? In broad terms, sure, we could characterize it this way. I think that's okay. But they operate very differently, right? That leader at the top is influential to different extents. And it's also worth mentioning that it's oversimplification to say that it's only down to the leader themselves. In numerous communities that we've seen fall apart or go through a controversy, whether you want to look at RGR or other people, which I'm not going to name, I'm just going to name RGR because maybe that's the clearest example. Moderators were upset with the way that she engaged. They left. They took a bunch of people with them. They cannibalized the community and whatever. It's not always as simple as just one person driving everything. For instance, if Mooten thought something different than Steven and Mooten said something, maybe he'd be able to convince some people. If RTBA took one stance, maybe he would divide things in a different way. There's different leaders in even DGG that could have different impacts. Dan might say something and make a convincing argument on stream, and a bunch of people who like Dan might follow Dan, right? And I don't think that and this also demonstrates, when I'm talking about streamers, the overlap in these communities. It's not as simple as all of DGG only follows what Steven says all the time. The very existence or even moderate success of my channel is a testament to that, especially when I was larger, right? Like, you could say things that are even the opposite of what Steven is saying and still get people that are in that community to listen or to, be sympathetic to it or move their ideas. You're oversimplifying things if this is exactly nuts and bolts what you think is going on. You could characterize streaming communities this way. However, it isn't like a fully functional explanation of the way that they're working. It is an oversimplification of the way that they work. So that's what I'll say in response to this part. The streamer gets feedback from chat. They most certainly do. This is so cool. I've always wanted to be a parasitic hive mind, a part of Steven. Ooh. Nice, Saint. She absolutely commented on that controversy before the facts came out. That is... No. Hold on. We have to be very, very careful here. When she said that I didn't respond to this, my understanding, and it's confusing because, again, I don't think she's the best writer, or at least I had problems with the way that she writes because it can get confusing like this. So I chose not to watch Destiny's video titled blah, 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 blah. Instead, I chose to reflect, whatever. Where is this part that I'm looking for? A few days ago, I stumbled across a new video referencing the Alec Baldwin fiasco. Alec Baldwin fiasco, if you'll remember, is what she is using to refer to this conversation that she had with Destiny, right? Today, I released a video response to an encounter I had with Destiny last year, which I have named the Alec Baldwin fiasco. So Alec Baldwin fiasco, if she's being consistent, if she even fucked this up, then she's even worse of a writer than I'm giving her credit for. Alec Baldwin fiasco is meant to represent the video that she did with Steven. So that's my understanding there. So we want to be a little bit careful there. I think there's a decent amount of people in DGG that respect her opinion. Usually my experience is younger people who are blind Destiny supporters. Maybe, just maybe. 500 bits. I need to give enthusiastic praise to people who support my channel. Thank you. 500 bitty boys. That's $5. Granted, they only pay me out once a month, so it doesn't help my current financial straits. The exclamation point dono and donating to me will put food in my belly, but I do appreciate that. That'll be a pretty penny at the end of the month. I do look forward to that. Thank you. Maybe 420. 420 is a big maybe for me too, depending on the state that I go to. Depending on the state that I move to, I very may well not be able to do 420. It's definitely a maybe. So anywho, enough of that. We're moving on to the next paragraph. Destiny and I are polar opposites in many ways, and there are some interesting dynamics at play in the Alec Baldwin exchange. By my very nature, I resist forcible control with counter resistance, whereas Destiny needs control. It becomes angry when the other person won't submit. I am also generally even-tempered and will try to de-escalate conflict and find middle ground, whereas Destiny is hot-tempered or resists middle ground at all costs. If I could play the noise from Kitchen Nightmares of the... That's my only response to this part here. Those clashes in personality led to the looping. Destiny kept trying to force me to explain my tweet, which would yield a more political argument, and I resisted in an attempt to steer the conversation back to the agreed upon topic, which I felt would lead to a more productive conversation. I don't know if this characterization really fits with what happened in the conversation, but, who am I? I just spent 8 hours reviewing it, and then even more time between me and Tack on editing a video together about it. But, my take is that that's not what led to the looping. My take is what led to the looping is actually her failure to understand Steven and see common ground. I think just because you think one thing is common ground, one compromise that you're coming up with works, or one thing you think you could agree upon works, does not then mean that there doesn't exist other ones. And you have to be a very good listener, listen to the other person, see what the problems that they're bringing up are, because I think it was clear to us and to many people that watched that, hence the overwhelming negative reception of it, that you missed a lot of that, that you missed a lot of places where what you were saying was not aligning with what was going on, where the principles that you brought up that you adhere to, like gospel from gun safety, does not necessarily apply to this situation or on this set. And even if you did think it did, you could have done a much better job of arguing it by being a little bit more flexible in your wording and stuff. So no, I mean... I think middle ground existed there that would have been better than the middle ground you tried to push him to. And I don't know about this entire last part here, but okay, let's keep moving here. Live streaming political communities, I don't know why political is in quotation marks there, tend to demonstrate a very surface level understanding of these types of encounters. I would hope that ours doesn't. But I worry this might be about me a little bit. Their interest is driven by insults, peaking microphones, and hot takes. Not us, but we very much so dislike that. And we speak out against it here. Arguments are broken down, and this may be referring specifically to the psychotic line from Steven, which while we said, hey, this isn't good rhetoric, hey, that's not productive, whatever, a part of me being more human is understanding why it happened. And I would be frustrated talking to you about this topic if you played it the same way you did with Steven as well. So there is balance to be found there. Arguments are broken down line by line, and the rhetoric... Oh, God, okay, this is us. Arguments are broken down line by line, and the rhetoric is analyzed in a narrow-minded, semantical way. So, hold up. Booksmarts. Let's see if we have anybody that's redeemed 3 breaths. Okay, I'm gonna do 3 breaths real quick because I just have to be very careful because this is about me and it's important how I respond to it. Do it with me, chat. Okay, do it with me. 1, 2, 3. 3. Go slow. We don't have to go fast. Let's read it one more time. Let's be fair. Live streaming political communities tend to demonstrate a very surface level understanding of these types of encounters. Their interest is driven by insults, peaking microphones, to hot takes. I disagree with that. I think we rally against that a lot. You can look at our response to everything from John Zerka to Infrared to see how we treat the people that argue that particular way. I constantly rally against this if this is meant to have anything to do with me. I think that this one is missing the mark. So in terms of peaking microphones, let's go ahead and cross that one off the list here, right? Insults. We don't encourage insults either. Every single time it's brought up, we mention that's rhetorically not going to work. It's not helping the conversation. It's increasing tension, right? In terms of hot takes, that's actually something we generally don't deal with on the show. A lot of the time, we don't focus on logic or the validity of ideas necessarily. And I can't think of any time where we've focused a lot on hot takes as being intrinsically good. Oftentimes, by saying something in a more inflammatory way or in a more convoluted way than what you actually believe when it's drilled down, you hurt your ability to communicate with other people. Case in point that we'll be covering soon enough on the channel, even today, is going to be MrGirl, right? I think even Steven said that the way that MrGirl puts things together, actually, because I've already done the research for this, I actually have a quote from Steven here. Let's see here. So Steven says, and I quote, "By the time you drill all the way down to that being what he actually believes, it's going to be an agreeable statement, but they always come out initially as incredibly disagreeable or very hyperbolic to the point of absurdity." And another quote, "He uses language in a very unwieldy way sometimes," right? So when we're talking about people like that, we often criticize them on the channel. That's something that we don't encourage. Next sentence. "Arguments are broken down line by line, and the rhetoric is analyzed in a narrow-minded, semantical way." So while I will admit that on some of our reviews, things were looked at in a semantical way. If I were to give an example to shit on myself here, I would say that the conversation between Hans and Dimamam was handled in a semantical way. And I didn't take good notes, and as a result, the entire thing fell apart. So that would be an example of semantics. Here's somebody that appreciates our overly semantic analysis of things. $30 from Macaroon.
Put that dono gold back on the stream, book fucker. Love your work.
Oh, okay. Is the dono gold not on the stream? My apologies. My sincerest of apologies. I'll put it right up there. 105. Ding, 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 ding. Ring a ding, 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 dong. You know what that means, party people? That means that we have hit our goal for the MrGirl video, which means that at the end of this stream, we'll be switching to YouTube only and covering the MrGirl video. Wowee. Great that we've made it. Wonderful. And that brings us ever closer to the $2,000 goal of my moving expenses so that I can get a place, I can test the validity of the streaming thing longer term, and invest more of my time and energy into being consistent with streaming times and stuff like that, because I'll have a more stable living situation and ideally stable internet. Yeah, that'll make things easier for us. Again, at $200, we will be looking at the DPAC conversations that he had as a bit of bonus content. If we hit that before we get to the MrGirl thing, I'll even do it live on Twitch. So if you're a Twitch viewer right now, you hate going to YouTube, you hate those YouTube losers, then be sure to donate and contribute to that goal before we get there. It'll take us a bit. I'm working my way through this, thing here. So again, let's prepare ourselves, prepare our bodies and minds for what we're about to embark upon. And we're going back. $20. Holy shit.
I admire a lot about your approach to conversations and life in general. And I think it's a shame that the good work you do isn't rewarded in the streaming sphere. I hope you find an arrangement that gives you something both creatively and financially.
Thank you. I feel like Trainwreck's actually read that one out pretty well. like the ups and the downs of the voice. Maybe the AI is getting better for TTS.GG. Thank you both. Macaroon, $30. That's huge. I wish there was some way I could proportionally give you love relative to like what you gave, but that's huge. Thank you a lot. And to Assertive, dilettante, I appreciate that. And if you're French, I'm sorry for the negative things I say about your people. If you're not French, then fuck the Frenchies, right? But yeah, I hope so. Honestly, when I'm able to structure these streams and I have something to say about everything that I talk about, it feels a lot less vacuous, and it feels like I could do it a lot better. Another huge thing that has felt both creatively fulfilling, the very least. Let's hear what Metal Gear Muffin has to say first.
Hey, Booksmarts, 9 months. If you were a baby, you would have been born now. Hope you have a great day.
Yeah, unless you lived in a Democrat state, in which case you would fucking yoink me out of you, wouldn't you? You little fucking pro-abortion. I'll leave it at that. Thank you. Yes, if I was a baby, hopefully I would be carried all the way to term now that the Supreme Court has determined what they've determined. Wonderful. I do appreciate that. That's awesome of you. 9 months. That is a very long time. In no, by the end of summer or something, or not the end of summer, but, soon enough, you'll have the 12-month badge, and that'll be cool to have by your name. Metal Gear Muffin, longtime supporter of the channel. And to finish off with Assertive, drama team has been another thing. It's been very fulfilling to me. It's been fulfilling to see people who were maybe initially taken aback by what was being asked of them in terms of citing their things that they believe in or thinking critically about the materials that they're reading. It almost felt like going through tutoring again, trying to get people to cite and think about things differently or think about things more in terms of what actually happened, and hearing people tell me, hey, look, when I was doing this and I actually had to type out the quotes, I'll share one anecdote, then we'll get back into it. Okay. I want to give the money people something for supporting the stream, because it's huge. There was a voice conversation that we were having in the Discord. In case you didn't know, I hang out in the voice channels on Discord all the time. ! Discord. Check it out. V Omega Little D people. It's linked in the description. I was hanging out in there, and we were talking about what the drama team was working on, and they had mentioned that they're having to find timestamped links to put citations for the statements that they're making. So if they were to say something like, I feel like MrGirl repeatedly says this thing, and I don't like that. Well, then if he repeatedly did it, you should be able to cite at least 2 or 3 instances of him doing it. And I require that from people when they make claims like that. Otherwise, you should cut it back. And when they do that, sometimes you can't just copy paste what the YouTube transcript gives you. You have to write it out because it gets words wrong and stuff. And somebody in our Discord channel was like, oh, fuck that. That's so much work and blah, 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 or something like that. And they were like, no, actually, it's helpful because when I have to type it out, I realized that if I were just writing it off the dome or using the Google Translate, captions, I would have gotten things crucially wrong. It's incredible how just changing a few words or the order of things changes the entire way that the statement feels or what it is even trying to communicate. And it made my heart flutter because people begin to realize things that I realized through essay writing and through doing the line by lines, where it's like you hear something and it hits your ear one way, but the way that it actually plays out, the way that it was actually said was different. And if you then combine that with thinking from that person's perspective about what they're trying to communicate, you're able to see more clearly what it is they were trying to say, right? Which, if we change scenes here and we go ahead and take a look at this document again, is something that I don't feel fits what we do on stream and what we cover when we're looking at something like where is it? This narrow-minded semantical way, line by line. The line by line is really helpful because we can look from each perspective of each person and flip-flop between them and try to understand where they're at the conversation. So I don't agree with this. And you know, while some of my content may be this way, the BXBullet one certainly wasn't. I feel like I did a better job than usual at understanding Steven's particular perspective here and why he got frustrated. And, you know, for Bullet, the same defenses that she gave me in person were the same that I had heard on her stream and stuff about, I was on medication. I had just come back from a surgery, you know, whatchamacallit, that she didn't want to come in there to debate. She didn't want to talk about her tweet. She thought they were having a more general, pleasant conversation with each other. And I just, you know, it's not even the way that she plays it out. The way she plays it out in the conversation, she is still combative, which is also why I disagreed with this idea of de-escalating all the time, because she is fighting back and making it worse for herself by doing so. So, you know, I have a problem with that. Anywho, let's continue with this. Very seldom do I see, and let me get my chat in front of me over here on the left. Captions are only good if you want to search a particular point of topic, not precise quotes. I would agree. Very seldom do I see someone evaluate a conversation, whether between two people or an entire panel, with consideration to the underlying psychology and the motivating factors of the people involved. Again, I don't want to be a broken record, but I think we do a better job than most of the React people at trying to understand the motivations behind what the people we're reviewing are saying. Now, your internal motivations or what you got going on don't always save you from the performance or the wrongness of what you did. And I think that that's part of the case with BXBullet here as well, right? It's the same case with Demon Mama. I do believe that Demon Mama genuinely wants to help the good people of the world and wants to give them a better life and wants to give them access to things like food and education and wants a fair and equitable world for most people. I keep saying most people because I think there's some people she wouldn't, but, you know, I think most people are good and see themselves as good people and all that, but I don't go that far. I feel like I already go too far with my current thinking, but I don't go so far as to let them off the hook with some of the things that they're saying just because of that underlying psychology. Although I do think we note it quite a bit here. Yeah, she could have just said that. She isn't informed well with the argument. Not sure why she would double down if she just knows the surface level arguments and then pin it as a destiny. I don't know, bro. It's easy to see how so many people these days are easily fooled by crooked politicians, deceptive marketing, and narcissistic influencers. Now, when this is coming from, and at the end of this entire paragraph, and this is why I mentioned I don't like the way the BXBullet writes. So normally the way that you would write is you have a leading sentence. It's going to be about what the whole paragraph is about. Usually it's the main topic or the main idea. And then you loop it all back together at the end. When this is the looping back together at the end of this whole paragraph, I don't feel like this has led to this, but okay. And if it's meant to apply to me, I don't feel like we give deceptive marketing, and I don't believe that we're super narcissistic on the whole, but okay. She very clearly bit the ideological pill in the event, and admitting that would be admitting she's politically an ideologue. You're kind of touching on something I'm afraid to say, and it's that, like, I actually have a lot of sympathy for BXBullet on being influenced by like conservative nonsense. And I think a lot of people do that I admire, like I, you know, feeling bad for people who are, you know, targeted by misinformation or are guided by like really strong ideological positions that blind them to the reality of the things that they're talking about. And I would actually put, at least in this conversation, BXBullet in that box, that a lot of her ideas about gun safety and stuff have blinded her to being to like the details of the conversation she's having with Steven and understanding what's going on. I don't think it's that he's manipulating the audience and stuff like that. In the case of this conversation, I feel like he's trying to have one particular conversation and follow a particular line of logic. And rather than working within that framing at all, or nodding to that framing at all, or even showing that you see that it's there, you kind of just try and do your own thing, and in doing your own thing and repeating yourself and whatever and being hard-headed, you look like you're completely illogical, that we should disregard your opinions on guns, and that frankly you're just not good at having intellectual conversations with somebody whom you disagree with, which is like antithetical to a lot of what she's saying here. So I don't mean to be too mean, because I don't want it to be taken that like this part bothered me so much that like I'm now saying that, but like I've been pretty consistent about that since the beginning. But anyway, let's go ahead and finish. Large groups like DGG are fueled almost entirely by conflict and collectivism, and the outcome is much worse than just a toxic community of trolls. This rippling meta extends to other influencers, channels, and platforms. Creators who encourage their viewers to actively listen to people with diverse perspectives have become a rarity, while tribalistic collectives interested primarily in blood sports have become the majority. So far, unless you want to ignore this part here, large groups like DGG are fueled almost entirely by conflict. I actually feel like when it's worded like this, I'm happy to sign off that this applies to DGG as well. And I feel like you'd be taking a weird stance to go against this. If you don't think that DGG and other large groups are fueled, I mean, I guess you could take issue with almost entirely, but if we said a large portion of people that are a part of large groups like DGG are fueled by conflict and collectivism, then it's agreeable, and that's what I'm doing to be good faith to BXBullet here. Yeah, I mean, for sure, collectivism and conflict have a lot to do with a lot of the drama space and Twitch politics space and the communities adjacent or within it. And the outcome is much worse than just a toxic community of trolls. This rippling meta extends to other influencers. This is all true, right? For sure. Creators who encourage their viewers to actively listen to people with diverse opinions have become rarity. This is also true. While tribalistic collectives interested primarily in blood sports have become the majority. That's also true. But here's the thing that I struggle with. I don't know this because I'm not familiar with a lot of the channels that do the opposite. If you were to look at people like maybe what's his name? Freems. If you're to look at Freems and some other people that are Freems adjacent, or like Hutch or these other people, I struggle to say, or not Hutch, but maybe like Touring News or I'm Really Important. They're not focused on blood sports. And I wonder how many small channels and small circles there are out there that don't engage with the main circles because, again, they're not interested in blood sports. How many small politics creators or community creators are out there that do showcase a diversity of voices and opinions that don't engage in these blood sports stuff, but you don't hear them because they suffer from the same problem that you're describing here, where they're not accessible to lots of people because they don't fit in with the meta of this particular space that you're in. I don't know, though, if you add up all those channels that exist outside of this space, I wonder if the viewers there exceed the viewers that are here, right? Because we have some people in here that I wouldn't categorize this way, like I'm Really Important, right? And honestly, and I don't watch a lot of his content, but from what little I have, it seems like the Serfs isn't like super into blood sports. Maybe tribalistic collectives, but definitely not blood sports. So we have to be careful about this characterization. It's really willy-nilly, and I feel like it's making claims that I don't know if I would be comfortable enough in a room with God to back up. But she's not in a room with God. She's talking to people that are following her in this, so it's important to keep that in mind. I think it's to the people who have been asking why her content changed, so maybe that's part of this. Let's see. Destiny and okay, I already read that. Large group, okay. We're right about here. Members of such communities are far more susceptible to mainstream mind control tactics responsible for the hostile and divided environment in America today. The rise of the internet era has exponentially increased the effectiveness of such tactics. Thus, there is an urgent need to revolutionize the online space before it's too late. Okay, so far, let me see how we're ending this. Members of such communities are far more susceptible to mainstream mind control tactics. Sure. I mean, if we assume they're hive mind people already and we buy into that, then obviously they would be more susceptible to mind control tactics. But as opposed to what is the control group, right? Like, I feel like most people on the whole are susceptible to mainstream mind control tactics. So making the point that these are hive minds before you make the point that, these people are susceptible to mind control tactics doesn't seem super necessary, right? Because I think that applies to the average person, really. Especially the average person that has other things to do in their life, which is a lot of people that have jobs, that have kids to take care of. Like, what little you engage with political topics are going to be what you see on TV, or you hear your favorite YouTuber, or whatever you spend your free time doing, what you hear them think about it or say about it, because you don't have the time to think about it yourself, and you don't have the energy to think about it yourself, and you're investing your time and your energy into other things in your life. So even the average person who's not involved with Twitch politics stuff would fall into this boat, in my opinion. But okay, in terms of revolutionizing the space, this is what I was hoping to hear this entire time. I guess we got a little bit of it by her talking about, the changes to her content, but I wish we had focused on that. Instead, it seems we focused a lot on the problem and not a lot on this revolutionizing of the online space that she's proposing, or like what steps she thinks other people should do. But I guess this is why that's not in there, is because she's focused on the people that watch her content, which is not me, and not most people, right? So maybe this would have been helpful to make applicable to a larger portion of people. But TLDR. My content has changed, has moved away from arguing about single issues and towards studying diverse perspectives in an attempt to understand how to truly reunite the country and ensure the success of future generations. We need understanding, empathy, and perspective right now to truly progress. This almost sounds like she's getting book smarts pilled, which is why it's frustrating to me that she seems to be taking swings at us. But, because, like, besides maybe, like, Dr. K and maybe IRI on like a good day, I don't feel like anybody really makes it a recurring theme on the channel to be understanding, empathetic to different perspectives. So, I mean, MrGirl, the wording on the packaging says empathetic, but I think that's about as meaningful as healthy on a bottle of like Diet Coke, right? Like, yeah, healthier than the other thing that you make, but I don't know. Anywho, to stop taking shots at other people, I'll keep going. So please delete that hateful comment you just posted and self-reflect on how your toxic actions harm that progress. No matter what you believe will lead us to progress, I can assure you the way to get there is not through hate and closed-mindedness. I would echo the last sentiment, specifically to BX here, because I feel like she was closed-minded in the conversation that she had, and I feel like that closed-mindedness is continuing into this TwitLonger. But I think I've said enough mean stuff, and that hate is not going to help us progress forward. But I do hope it gets BX to change course a little bit, or just see something. I don't think it's actually going to have that impact on her, but oh well, I tried the other thing. It doesn't seem to work. The entire future of our country is at stake. Sure, maybe. Luckily, I've learned there are other countries that exist that are doing way better, and they don't have the problems that we have. So I will consider long-term moving in one of these countries. I'll be quite honest with you. All right, there you go. That is our TwitLonger from BXBullet. Let's take a little bit of a breather, a little bit of a break from all this. Again, if you'd want to check that out, you can look up BXBullet on YouTube, and this will be linked in the bottom of her video in the description. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts? I've tried on the stream more to ignore the chat for a lot of what I'm doing and then have these intermission periods where I talk to you. So that's what we're doing now. Let's see. Sad and un-American pilled. I am un-American pilled, actually. Yeah, I would much rather move to one of these countries here. Just flick through her content, and the last month of her videos are all drama hit pieces. Lol W. Surely that can't be the case, bud. Surely she doesn't have a bunch of that in here. Let's go ahead and take a look real quick, though.
Hello.
I don't... Threats made by child predator Matt Brockett to BXBullet. Hunter Avalon gaslights, manipulates audience over deal with predator. Hunter Avalon conspiring with child predator and defamation scandal. Lava hot pizza roll almost kills me. I'm trying to skip all of her long podcast things. But yeah, I guess those are it, huh? Okay. No comment though. Nothing to say about the segment itself, but definitely prefer the format of getting through the content chunk and then checking in. I'm happy that you've taken the opportunity to check in with me during the check-in and let me know that that's something that you like. Also, if you're on the YouTube or you're a VO Megalo D Gigachad, hey, are you washing dishes? Are you driving in your car? Are you working your 9 to 5 and trying to get through it? This is a message for you, second monitor Andy. Leave a comment at the end of this video or set an alarm to remind yourself later when you get home to do it, because it's helpful to me. Say something insightful. I like reading them. How close are we to the MrGirl goal? We need to get to 200 and we are at oh wait, no, we already hit the MrGirl goal. Never mind. We've hit it. We're good. In terms of the MrGirl goal, I think everyone values empathy on paper, but doesn't mean anything and just say it. Yeah. One thing that I've kind of realized doing the empathy thing for a while. Why does the camera look so shitty? One thing I've kind of realized doing the empathy thing for a while, it's doing something weird. I don't like what the camera is doing, but is a lot of people don't do anything about it though. And they're not willing to kind of take the hits on doing something about it. I did something about it for a long, long time, more than I probably should have. And I got hit for it every single time. And it's probably part of why the channel isn't as successful as it is. If I just leaned into blood sports, if I spent the same time trying to be a debate lord, whatever, I'd be a lot more successful. Probably be less happy, but you know, I agree with you here. Everybody agrees with it on paper, but it's a practice and you have to put it into practice all the time, and you need to find your weak points on it and stuff. So I don't know about collectivism, but maybe conflict. I think collectivism is a big part too. I don't think you last very long in an internet community, particularly Twitch communities, if you're going against the grain. Because if you do it in even a little bit of a dickish way, even on this channel, you're very likely to get timed out, if not like called out, and then maybe banned if you're rude about it, right? So I don't know about that. I think the system is designed, at least on Twitch and culturally on Twitch, that collectivism is encouraged because of the way that bans and timeouts and social reinforcement, right? You say something that's against what I'm saying, or IRI is saying, or Destiny is saying, you get called out, you get ridiculed, people Pepe laugh you, they at you, and they say that you're stupid or you're the R slur or whatever. So I feel like collectivism is not a tough buy there. Yes, I always have a new background in my streams because I'm always moving. Hopefully we'll change that soon. Okay, I already read that one. Your light is too close. It is not close at all, but I can move it farther. I feel like this isn't any better. I don't think it can be farther than that. I could turn it down, but... But it's pretty far. I don't know, bro. I thought you reviewed the MrGirl Britney video. I did not. I watched them have a conversation. What we're going to review is his initial video about abusing women. Fixed? Oh, is it fixed? That's wonderful. I also took off the warm light and I just left the cool light on. Positive punishment feels bad, man. I don't even know what that means. Days go by as I forget what I'm supposed to be doing to move my life in a positive direction. I feel lost because I do not know my direction, probably because I do not know myself. Comment for the algo. Thanks, JH. I mean, I would advise you to do what I advised at the beginning of the stream. Lay out why you don't feel like you have a direction. Look at the things that you feel good about doing, or the things you have felt good about doing in the past, and start there. Pick up where you left off. if you remember that, hey, when I was a teenager or when I was a youngin' in college or whatever, I really enjoyed doing, surfing or doing, research about this thing or volunteering here or doing this. Start there. Again, those moments of insight that kind of inform the direction that you ought to take your life, they're more likely to happen immediately after they happen. So pursue where to find that again in your life, make it happen again, and then immediately after, think of where to go next and keep following that. And you'll chain all of these magical special moves together and you'll become an amazing fighter, an amazing person who lives a great life. That's what I think. I'm currently doing the self-authoring Peterson course, so I'm on my way. Thanks, Book. All I'm happy to hear, Jordan Peterson has been a help to you. I know a lot of people shit on him for this, that, or the other thing, or make fun of him, but his self-help, I think, is actually really helpful to people, especially people who feel like they're lost. So I'm happy that you're making active steps about that, and I hope it helps you through it, dude. What if my passion is running it down bot lane with you? Well, then you know what you're meant to do, and you're in a much better position than JH. Okay? We're all at different levels, right? Let's see. I got suspended from work for 2 weeks because I was smoking weed and got randomly drug tested. If I were in Canada, they pay me to smoke from time to time. That sucks, Killer. I'm sorry to hear that, dude. Actually, should I say this? I'll say this. When I remember how I used to work in security, and I told you the story about how this lady fucking hit me with her car. This shoplifter bitch, she stole a bunch of shit from a store. We walked her out to her car telling her, dude, you gotta give that shit back and whatever. The second she gets in her car, she throws it in a reverse and guns it. And she fucking hit me and dragged me with her fucking car. Like, not even, like, I know I'm not supposed to get in the way of them leaving. And I had no intention on doing that. She comes out at an angle and hits us. It's not even that we're like behind the car. She just fucking immediately throws it in reverse. She hadn't even closed her fucking door. And she reverses full fucking throttle into me. So, anywho, when I get hit and a while later, I end up going to the hospital and they look at me and whatever. I got drug tested and I had weed in my system. And then they tried to not pay out anything for me and to like fire me and say that I was going to be fired before I even was hit or something. They tried to pull this fucking nonsense with me. So I get the feeling and I get how fucking stupid it is. So I get you, bro. In context of commenting, like if they would have drug tested me the day of, it would have been understandable. But they drug tested me because they kept trying to delay me going to the doctor at all, which made my back worse. They even tried to get me to keep working when I told them I couldn't work. They tried to also not pay me for the days that I didn't go to work because I couldn't because my back was hurt. And when I asked my supervisor about going to the doctor, I didn't even get a response. Anywho, whatever. Fuck that shit, dude. I'll just stop because I'm going to go on a whole tangent about it. In context of commenting and going against the grain, decreases future behavior of commenting against the grain or adding a critique to the conversation. Yeah, that too. That's definitely part of what's contributing to that. He was thinking JP book, not your book. Okay. I'm sorry. All right. Well, are you thanking me too? You want to thank me too, JH? Hey, Book, since you're here, I'm curious why you aren't a rich sales copywriter, like writing email sales as a freelancer. I'm not, because this job takes a lot of fucking energy, and that's why. It takes a lot of my energy and a lot of my time. I could be a lot of other things if I wanted to be, which is why, again, we have our dono goal for the house, okay? I would very much appreciate if we could hit this in a reasonable time frame before the end of July for sure, but I actually think we could hit this before the end of June. And if we hit it before the end of June, that's definitely a point in favor of streaming because it would show that I could pay my bills every month, because it's going to cost me a certain amount of money to live on my own and whatever. So, but anywho, what a great system you have there. Yeah, it's not a great system. Sorry. I'm thanking you, Book. Fuck that guy. Ooh. YouTube chat sending some fucking shots. Sending some fucking shots to Raphael. Some infighting in the YouTube community. Anywho, I guess we don't have any more comments probably on that BXBullet stuff, which means I will stay on long enough to give my TLDR for my Twitch people, and then we will be moving over to YouTube to do a review of that video. Let me go ahead and grab my notes here. So, firstly, I want to start with a little bit. Here's the lighting difference if you're curious. Oh, I am curious. Let's see. Oh, wow. Wait, maybe the light needs to be really far away. Can I move the light even farther? Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry to distract. I know I lose viewers when I do this, but I actually am really curious. I'm going to put the light like kind of farther and maybe put it up more. I wonder what this looks like. Hi, Book King. My future waifu wants to do a conversions therapy so she doesn't like women anymore. I should be glad, but I'm not. I didn't even understand how to interpret any of that. Do I look better or do I look worse? Should I turn the light down? How does it look? Should I turn it down a little bit? I love the help I'm getting with my lighting, Nick. Because I turned it up a little bit, but I could turn it down.
Hey, Book, didn't Gex mention a life from Destiny? Was that ever explained?
That's a good fucking point. Rhetoric Andy on the case, line by line Andy. See, we should have done more semantic analysis so we understood. Maybe she meant a lie in a feely sort of way. She meant that, you know, it felt like a lie. I don't know. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't think we got the lie. Looks good? Okay, solid. It's okay to get pissed drunk every night before work, but heaven forbid you've got more than 50 nanograms of THC in your pee. Dumb, they never want to pay your workers' comp. Yeah, they never do. And yeah, I don't know about the like, the other thing is it stays in your system way longer than it influences your behavior or performance at work. That's my main problem with it. I'm not necessarily against you getting fired because you came into work hungover or drunk or high. I don't have a problem with that. Like, I'm not that crazy, like in favor of drugs. What I have a problem with is I could have smoked weed a week or two earlier and still been in trouble. That to me feels bullshitty. Right? In much the same way that if you were able to measure alcohol content like days after you had consumed alcohol and you got in trouble for that, that would be bullshitty to me, because the reason that you're meant to test it doesn't exist anymore. You weren't intoxicated, right? Hey, Bookman, I hear you're going through a tough spot in your previous stream. Glad to see you back in the saddle. I hope things fall into place. To give you a TLDR, although you could rewind because you are on the YouTube, it's just that I'm poor. I'm very poor, and I don't have a house, and I don't have a dog, and I don't have a lot of the things I thought I would have by the time I'm 25. And it's not looking good in terms of income for the stream, and we're changing direction. That's scary because I can't help things and whatever. And because of all that, it makes me realize that I need to make an adult decision about streaming. However, I'm making that adult decision without consulting my children, without consulting my supporters, the people that would be the make it or break it for it, right? So I just tried to be transparent with the audience today because it was really doomer yesterday that, like, At the end of this summer trip, at the end of July, I will be considering whether or not I continue with this, and if I do, by how much. And that'll be greatly dependent on how financially viable it is to continue doing this. So I'm putting the thing to the audience, and that's why we have the dono goal as what it is. If I can get the 2,000 for my moving trip, that is a huge first milestone in considering continuing streaming, because I need fucking housing. I don't feel like a shill if I ask for money for fucking housing. I feel like a fucking beggar. And if you're gonna shit on me for asking for money for fucking getting a house, I'm gonna shit on you for consuming this for free and doing nothing. You know, I don't know. It seems like a game that if we really played it down to the last stretch of it, I think I would win out morally. So I don't feel bad about shilling for it, but I need to be transparent, and I need to do that, and I need to tell you guys that that's what's going on, right? So that's what I did today. Please be kind, rewind. That's actually a really good saying. Would you say a dog would aid you emotionally? Yeah. But it wouldn't if I couldn't afford it, right? Like, that's the other thing is I'm thinking about is like, I, at one point with streaming, I was able to scrape by. Like, I was able to afford food, like good food. I was able to afford housing, like, you know, living in Airbnbs, not the most ideal, but not the worst. But there was no way in hell I could afford taking care of a dog, especially with all the work that I had to do. And the fact that I had to keep traveling, I couldn't live in one place. So, you know, I began to think about what I want out of life, what would make me happy, and streaming doesn't necessarily give me those things. If it doesn't give me those things, but essay writing would, then I would pick essay writing. So I bet there's a balance there, and I'll find it, and I'll consider all that at the end of summer. Anywho, yeah, I remember that you're poor and don't have a house / dog / retirement, which you can't get as a drama guy. I was present in class. Aw, thank you. Okay. Is it a house or housing? It has to be a house. I don't mean that I'm going to buy a house with a mortgage, but what I mean is like, I want a house that I live in long term. Like that's what I want. And long term for me, keep in mind, is 6 months to a year. It has been maybe 3 or 4 years since I've been in a place that I've stayed in for more than 2 months. Think about what that does to a motherfucker. Think about that, what that would do to you living in the same house, Andy. Imagine if you had to, on average, change houses every like 3 weeks. What would it do to you? What would it do to your brain? How different would your life be, right? Like, I don't know. Yeah, so have you ever considered a work for stay situation? No, hell no. I couldn't do this if I did that. And it wouldn't be worth it. I would do essays at that point. But I have done it before. When I first started traveling, I did that. That's how I lived in Japan for a little bit. What is this? Oh my God.
Whatever you do, make sure you're happy.
I will. I think that has to be a really important thing that I consider, is to not do streams and not do topics and not, again, get caught up in a brand of things that I don't like doing. So, yes. And thank you for reminding me. The 50 is huge. Thank you to Miss Mortician, 1986. Thank you. That is huge. That is super helpful. I do appreciate that a ton. You're supporting the content you like. You're supporting me. And I greatly appreciate it. And I'll follow that. So I hope that that's been more clear with the streams, especially since I think Cherry's house, maybe more of the streams have been about things that I want to cover and way less have been about what I think you guys want. And I haven't let that like guide a ton of what I'm doing. And yeah, that's a point of consideration that has become increasingly important. So don't worry about that. Because, again, that's another fire. When we were talking about different fires being on there or the car falling apart in different ways, if I choose not to pump up the tires, they're going to wear out quicker, right? So I should make sure that the tires are pumped. I should make sure we're doing stuff we like. Otherwise, the things are going to fall apart quicker, and the last thing I need is a flat tire when I have a gazillion other problems. The last thing I need is to be sad about streaming or not want to go live when I have a bunch of other problems. Like I need it for my finances. I need it for my rent. I need it for this. I need it for that. Right. So, yeah. And that's the same reason why I need to get a place. Oh, thank you, old school. Would you consider living somewhere slightly cheaper?
Always remember, wherever you go, there you are. Buckaroo Banzai.
Old school with the good quotes. Always remember, wherever you go, there you are. Yeah. Yes, that is true. And I have been in a lot of places. So Booksmarts has existed all over, everywhere. Japan, Korea, Sweden, your mom. I've been in everywhere, bro. I've been in everywhere. Would you consider living somewhere slightly cheaper? Yes. That is the plan, because I don't anticipate the streaming will make enough income to warrant living in California. However, if it does, then I could move into a room in California. However, for the price that I pay for a room in California, I could get a 2-bedroom apartment in North Carolina. So I'm considering, hey, maybe you could scratch that itch of wanting to be in a new place all the time by moving to a state that you've never been to before and living there and getting to learn what it's like there in an area you've never been to before, which is the southern part of the United States. And you get a 2-bedroom apartment, 1 bedroom for the office with the streaming setup that you will never ever have to take down and put back up again. And, a bedroom for sleeping, so you don't look at the thing that you have to do all the time, which is streaming, right? So that's the plan. If you end up in North Carolina or Virginia, I have people that can help with locating a house and or the actual move. Mike W on the YouTube. I have a message for you and you alone. Mike, if you have a Discord and you can find my Discord account either by doing !Discord and join the Discord if you aren't already, or by just doing Booksmarts #1004 on Discord, or by emailing me booksmarts@twitch@gmail.com, do that, because I will respond to you and take you very seriously and ask you for help, because I need the help. I really think it would be smarter to move to North Carolina than it would be to live in California, and to really figure out and be serious about how much income I'm making before I pick to go back to California and then live on my own in California if I can get my finances to that point. So North Carolina is the adult choice that I should be making here, and I would be very, very happy to have help with it, especially if you can find me somebody that can rent me a place or find some boots on the ground to look at places for me, or whatever the help is. Even a move, that's fantastic. I don't know how I would move stuff from California. I'll likely still have to pay for a storage unit there and keep my stuff there. But if there's some way, then where there's a will, there's a way. Okay, so email me or DM me on Discord, because that would be super helpful. My name is Mike W, but he's not talking to me. What are the odds, Chris? Better yet, rent a room from Steven's mom, Nebraska Smarts. Why would I need to rent a room when she lets me sleep in hers? Obviously, it's just a your mom joke. It's not a Steven specific joke. Okay, so chill out. How did you find game streaming with Yakuza or Dungeon of the Endless? Did you enjoy it at all, or did you really just find it wasn't what you wanted to do on stream? I'm being transparent with you. That's the theme of the stream, so I will continue it. I don't make money when I do that. If I made money doing it, I'm sure I would continue doing it. It was really indifferent to me. The thing that makes me sad is, and this is very shallow, it's seeing that the stream gets so many fewer people watching and I don't get money for it. And I probably wouldn't play those games of my own volition. So it really feels like I just wasted time. And time is a very valuable asset as a human being who could die at any point. So it was good to do in the moment. The act of doing it is cathartic and it feels good. But because I don't make money, I'm not really doing anything that's purposeful or helping people. And it's done in lieu of doing other things that would be more successful financially, impact on people's lives, etc. For those reasons, it kind of felt bad to do it afterwards. It's a lot like beating your meat. There's kind of this guilt that you feel at the end of it, and then you're just kind of tired. And that's how I would describe it. But, it's fun in the moment. It certainly feels good when I'm doing it. The South actually seems really relaxing. I'm from Massachusetts, and I often think of being somewhere down south in a rocker on a farmer's porch. Yeah, you know, rocker on a farmer's porch, bit of that wheat thing in your mouth, straw hat, whip at your side, you know. Definitely feel good to live in the South for sure. If you have a chance to live in the South, you should definitely do it. Yeah, and then I'll know what the South is like. As an American, maybe that's an important thing to know about. And I'd have to stop all my Georgian accent and slave jokes as well, because I'll know the people from there. Yeah, of course, it's super fair. Even if it was a game you liked, I think it would be hard to enjoy when you look at the view count and feel like you should be making money instead. Yeah. Got to collab with them VTubers. Big Among Us, content and shiz, 1,000 viewer raids. If you have an idea of how to do that, you DM me the people. It's finding the people that's the hard part. Anywho, enough delays. Enough of it. I've had enough. I will do the 3 deep breaths that Nick has requested so that I can clear it and steal Nick's points here. All right, we've done our 3 deep breaths. Thank you, Nick. And we'll jump into our next bit of content. Where are we at with that? It'll be MrGirl Abuse. Oh yeah, I need to do my TLDR of it first. So TLDR, get this in front of me here. Get it in the chat window so you guys can see it, and then I'll just full screen. Okay, excellent. Put this here. Go to leak 3, right? Okay, bada bing. F11. Minimize this. Book, did you just fall asleep? No. I did fart, though. Did you hear my fart? Great weather today? Yeah, I mean, it rained less. It rained less, so I guess it's kind of good today. Why are the margins so huge? I don't like that the margins are so big. Oh my God, stepbrother, your margin is so big. Why are these margins so large? My margins. Oh no. This is great weather in Sweden. I guess so. You were snoring? Because I breathed through my mouth, bro. I want to know how well a giant debate sphere Among Us game would do just for science. Okay, enough of this. Enough chatting. It's time for the YouTube segment. So Tack could cut it much easier. So, what I've done today, first of all, is talking from the perspective of the drama team. So, I have people report in. For this particular video, we had 2 different people report in, Bamf, Badass Motherfucker, and St. Nicholas. So I've taken quotes from what they've said to tell the basic story, the basic gist of what their opinion is to save time and energy and effort. So Bamf says, MrGirl wants you to believe that he's a domestic abuser by every definition of the phrase. This is all to aid in his goal of having people empathize with domestic abusers in order to help/change them. Brittany tries to explain why she couldn't follow along with the goal of the video, empathizing with domestic abusers, because she felt MrGirl was unsafe. So a bit of a hint at what we're going to cover in other videos in this arc of conversations, but that's also why this particular video is important to watch to kind of understand the way everything else unravels. Also, I have something for you people that isn't available on the internet anymore. Yes, that's right. The drama team, or as they'd like to be referred to, the Booksmarts Intelligence Agency, the BIA, they have uncovered the video that she did, where she responded to what he said that she deleted. We have scoured the internet. We have put it all together in a video, and we will be reviewing that as well. So big thanks to the BIA there. Look forward to that. St. Nick says, self-help is what the video is meant to be. The purpose of this video is to have both sympathy for the abuser and the abused, because he himself feels like he was not understood. Abusive people aren't stupid, and sitting down and lecturing them isn't going to make them better, but empathizing with them will. I honestly believe that this first step is best. It lays out a very solid argument, very sound argument as to why MrGirl believes the things he does in regards to this topic. But there's a small inkling in me which feels as if he is explaining why he's acted in certain ways in the past. I feel like this video starts off in a very genuine manner, and at first it seems very focused, but I feel like it slowly devolves into him trying to communicate his experience to other abusers in order to remind them that they are human, which is a noble goal, if only it didn't feel like him fishing for sympathy. Maybe that's just me. And to comment on that point from Saint Nick, like, I think it's a balance that he kind of fails to strike for a lot of people based on the way they've responded to the video. It's tough to walk the line of you're trying to humanize abusers and you're humanizing yourself and using your story as kind of the driving, narrative way of doing that, while not feeling like you're justifying your behavior or trying to explain it away or make it more okay, right? Because you are trying to humanize abusers, but what you want to be careful about is humanizing abuse. And that's just tough. That's not to say that you shouldn't humanize abuse, but it is to say that, like, when you're talking about your own abuse history, you want to be very careful with that. And I don't know what the advice is there. MrGirl always wades into waters that are extremely optically dangerous and uncomfortable. And I, frankly, am willing to just admit I don't have the advice for somebody doing that. He's already willing to take the fact that lots of people are going to disagree with him. Lots of people are going to be put off by the way he frames things. Lots of people are going to miss his point or actively misinterpret him because he portrays it in a way that's tough to grab onto and understand. This video is no exception to that. And so I don't really have advice to somebody who's doing that. I have some advice, but not a lot. Let's go through the purpose of this. The purpose, as stated by MrGirl, is if you have a similar problem or even an analogous problem, I'm hoping this video can help you. And he makes that little correction there. It does feel like a lot of the video is almost like a letter to his past self and not necessarily a letter to broader people. And in that way, I think he kind of hurts his own goal here. If you're trying to reach other abusers, maybe making the message a little bit more broad or focusing more on your steps and stuff like that rather than your own story could be more helpful to those people, but it feels more raw to focus on your story. So I can get going either way. So my opinion is this video is made for abusers and or people. Thank you. Thank you for your sub. 2 months. Hey, welcome to the club.
D3F1, hi.
Yeah. Thank you. 4 total. How do you have 4 total, but you only have 2 months in a row? Oh, maybe you're on your 4th month. 2 more and you'll have your 6-month badge. Let me restart. This video is made for abusers and or people who need to understand abusers. I think it can certainly reach abusers, given the humanizing attempts, but may fall on its face in convincing people who have the current beliefs that he mocks, right? Because he makes fun of people in this. While someone like Contra walks the line well between poking fun at her target audience while broadening their horizons, I think MrGirl only makes fun of those beliefs here, hoping they stick along to hear him out on the other points, which is a tough ask of people, in my opinion. Let's go to my general thoughts. Oh, I'll save those. We'll cover those at the end. Instead, we should look at the video. And I will... Oh, I have a link in the doc, but probably not here. Let's go switch scenes while I find that, because I'm bound to show something on stream that I'm not supposed to if I do that. And let's click this link here. F11, click. If you're a Rainman Ray Repairs follower, you'll know what I'm referencing there with the click. Hey, chat and Booksmarts. What's up, Lefty Angler? Sag, I missed a month. I'm sorry, Bookie. It's okay. I forgive you. Wow, hey, there's somebody who's starting their 1st month. Subscribe with Twitch Prime. Thank you to Stixon 98. Hey, I'm your senior, okay? I'm in 97. Welcome to the club. Happy to have you, dude. Had to hop to YouTube chat. No problem, bro. No problem. Oh yeah, I have to hop to YouTube chat as well. That is a good reminder to me. Everybody, thank you for showing up on Twitch. I'm going to can we get on with the content? We could. If you're in Twitch chat, you're not in the Twitch chat. Whatever. All right. Head over to the YouTube chat, everybody. I will see you later, Twitch chat. Let me find a place to raid you into, because people are rushing me. The stream has only been 2 hours long, and we're basically at the end of it. So I'm doing much better in time than I normally do. Fuck you. Fuck you, asshole. Where are we rating into, Twitch chat? You're in the YouTube chat too. Fuck you. Where are we going, Twitch chat? Where do you guys want to go? Actually, I won't rate at all. I'm gonna be a big man. I'm just gonna end the Twitch stream. You need to go over to my YouTube stream. This shit ain't done. I think the fuck not. I'm not rating you somewhere else. Go on, pile in, cause I'm ending it. Pile in now. Open my restream up here and close that out. Pile in, Twitch chat. Over to the YouTube. Booksmarts on YouTube. Get going. Let's where is my option to do that? It's probably in here. Dashboard restream. And we'll turn this off. And then I'll make sure on Twitch that it's gone. Pardon this intermission. I need to make sure it's working technically. Okay, good. It is. They get nothing on there. Wonderful. Excellent. Okay. Raid your mom's house? More like raid your mom's kitchen. That bitch is always eating, bro. It's your mom joke and a yo mama so fat joke. What the fuck are you, 97? How the fuck do you have your shit together so much better? I'm 7797. I don't have my shit together, bro. I'm homeless. What are you talking about? Suck at Twitch chat. Yeah, certainly suck at Twitch chat. All right. Enough of this dilly-dallying, okay? Enough of this dilly-dallying. I'll check in with you guys at the end of the video. We'll watch it together. I'll do some pausing, do some pause champing. When I pause, I'll probably take a moment to talk with you guys, okay? Still trying to figure out this new format where I don't, talk to you guys all the time throughout the whole thing. It's just better, I think in general to do it this way. So bear with me. All right. Enough. Let's jump into this.
Oh, yeah. Oh. I was in my early 20s the first time I hit a woman. We got in a fight and she slapped me. And I think it was the first time a girlfriend of mine had ever slapped me. I grabbed her wrist and I forced her to keep slapping me harder and harder till basically I was bashing her wrist bone against my forehead. She screamed for me to stop, and I did, and I was pretty horrified by what I'd done because I never thought I would be the type of person to hit a woman, or type of man, I guess. And I used to be like you. I used to fantasize about beating up men who beat up women. I used to fantasize about killing child molesters and pedophiles. And then, after that first time, a few weeks later, I grabbed her arms because she wasn't listening to me or something. And I grabbed them really hard, and afterwards she showed me bruises on her arms. She was like, "Oh, it's okay, I bruise easy." She didn't talk like that, but that's how she made me feel like she was talking. It scared me. She said, "Okay, it's okay, I bruise."
What is this?
What do we got going on here? Oops. What do we got going on here? Oh, subscriptions on Twitch. The Twitch users, even beyond the grave, are trying to get in the stream.
Bruise easy, don't worry, it's fine. And then a little bit after that, she had just destroyed the overhead light fixture in the kitchen with a Swiffer and was smashing it into the ground as hard as she could, screaming stop at me because she didn't like something I was saying. And after she finished, I just said, okay, that was so loud that the neighbors are going to call the cops. And before they get here, I need you to put on a long sleeve shirt so they don't see the bruises on your arms. Because if they do, I'm going to spend the night in jail, 100%. And she was like, oh, really? And I was like, really? And it was at that moment that I heard myself say that I thought I might have a problem. Now, I've never hit Shaylin. There's been some speculation about that, and I'm happy to say I've never hit Shaylin, and that's how I know that I'm cured. Because if I were capable of hitting Shaylin, I would have done it by now. Because I have wanted to hit Shaylin so incredibly badly and so incredibly hard. And the fact that I haven't is proof that I'm a changed man. Now, if you have a similar problem or even an analogous problem, I'm hoping this video can help me. I'm hoping it'll help both of us. Anyway.
So, we have the purpose. We have the common cringe statements from MrGirl, like that he's really, really wanted to hit Shaylin, which I think is like an upsetting statement for people to hear, or the very opening of the video that cuts from this music to immediately, this story. I have a lot more examples of that. When we do the broader review of MrGirl, I'm going to go through a lot of them and have Tack kind of overlay the ones that are most exemplary of what I'm talking about. But I often talk about MrGirl as like a stand-up comedian, but instead of making you laugh, he makes you really uncomfortable. So he builds up moments through statements and other forms of language to make you really uncomfortable. And then that's kind of like what the punchline is meant to be. Stevens pointed this out. We've used a quote from him kind of before about that. Another thing that I want to note is when the girlfriend is smashing the light fixture, it's really quick. And I didn't notice it the first time I watched this, but later on he's going to have the message that there are often reasons why somebody is being abusive, reasons why people get physical, and when you are physical and when you hit them or get in a fight, then you don't have to focus on what the reasons were. You can focus on the fight and the evil person that did the fighting or did the hitting, and you kind of morph the problem into something that's simpler to deal with. And then you passionately embrace the other person because now both of you are fighting against a common foe, and it obfuscates the entire complex reason that the abuse had occurred in the first place. He notes that there was something that he had said that pushed her to the point of smashing the overhead light fixture and then smashing the fuck out of it on the ground. But we don't know what that was at all. And at this point in the video, we don't have the thesis, so we have no way of reasonably interpreting what the girlfriend had did. And so I just want to point that out, because if you watch this twice, you may pick up on that, but you may not really. Because while he talks about other people who have abused him, he doesn't, I feel like, go into as much detail about the reasons for them as he does the reasons for why he abuses other people. And I don't know, just a little note. I don't know if that's intentional. I don't think it is, but it's something that I picked up on that's a very, very little thing to notice there.
Anyway, I've broken it down into a few steps. So step one is, why do you do it? So everybody kind of assumes, I guess in pop culture, that men are violent towards women because they're angry. And anger could definitely be a part of it, but I think that that's a little reductive. So for me, one thing I noticed I was feeling a lot in those moments was panic. Fear of being abandoned or being ignored, or fear of being thrust into having to face a lot of things I was avoiding or feelings I didn't want to be feeling. And that fear put me in like a fight or flight thing where I felt like I had to lash out just to get out of the situation and make it stop. And one thing people don't talk about a lot is that a violent outburst like that can be a unifying event for a couple. So unless you're doing like any bodily harm to the other person or serious property damage, like one time I broke my ex's laptop, and that there definitely was not like the kind of holding each other and crying and making up thing after that. But a lot of times there is. And you get to sort of join forces against the you that just snapped, and you're like, whoa, that was crazy. Wow, I really went insane there. Wow, we're on a team against that evil part of me. I'm so glad that he's gone. And it can just be this kind of cycle of denial, and then you get to apologize, and apologizing is fun, and it's very simple. It takes a complex problem, like some dynamic where you're not hearing each other or understanding each other, or some big unspoken thing you're not talking about. It makes it very, very simple. I hit you, it hurt you, I feel bad, oops. And it just makes it all very ironically kind of easy to deal with and then push under the rug. But
one little thing here is, and I worry that this is part of the message that he gets across, and I hope it's not intentional. This doesn't mean that focusing on the abuse at all is not worthwhile. So what I mean to say is, like, it can simplify things, it pushes things under the rug. However, it creates a new problem that does have to be dealt with. It isn't a problem to apologize and work towards change. It isn't a problem to unite as a couple against that issue. It isn't a problem to seek therapy or to seriously consider the other forms of abuse that happen as well. So, like, one thing that I kind of see in the way that he acts with people and the way that he's acted on stream or with Shaylin is I worry that, like, there are other forms of abuse in the way that you talk with people, the way that you demand things of people, the way that you interact with your spouse that isn't necessarily physical, but is still worthwhile to talk about or to try and fix. Like, I remember there was another video where he mentions that he tried to go to therapy, to couples therapy, and the therapist demanded that he not call the other person a liar. And that if he wasn't willing to stop calling the other person a liar or insulting each other, then the therapist wasn't going to help anymore. And this is kind of what I'm talking about there, is, like, you know, abuse in general is something that it's worth focusing on to fix. So I just hope that that's not meant to be the takeaway here, but that's another very, very slight point here. Buffering. I hope it's not buffering. It shouldn't be. Let me check my OBS. We have no problems on OBS, so that's unless other people say so. It's got to be a you problem, I think. Is that serious? Is that not serious property damage, or am I just poor? Depends on the laptop, I suppose.
One of the problems with that is, and I think this is an issue for a lot of people to kind of grasp this or be able to stomach grasping this, when in that moment, when you're apologizing and you're having your makeup sex and she's crying in your arms or you're crying in her arms about what a abusive piece of shit you are and how you don't deserve her, you are sweeping your own feelings under the rug. You're throwing yourself under the bus because you had a reason. You had a reason to snap, and it's not a justifiable reason to snap, but it's a real reason that you snapped, and those things get tied together. And so it becomes, I was wrong for doing that, becomes we no longer have to think or talk.
And another tiny thing. So if you hear people say that he's trying to justify abuse, it's very tiny and it's skipped over there, but listen.
It becomes, I was wrong for doing that, things get tied together. And so it becomes, I was wrong for doing that, becomes we no longer have to think or talk about why I did that or understand why I did that. So you're really doing yourself a disservice, and it's easy to do, and it's easy for your partner. You had a reason to snap, and it's not a justifiable reason to snap.
There. So I've seen other people talk about this, and they say that he's trying to justify, like, hitting women or something. That's bad faith. That's not what he's saying. And this one little line can save you if you need to cite something in a conversation with somebody else about this, if you're a MrGirl fan or something like that, you know. But he doesn't say that. He actually goes against that. I think he knows that it's not justifiable to be beating on women, although maybe there's another clip or a video where he does say that. He doesn't in this video, so I think it's we need to be careful there, and some people aren't that I see talking about this online.
Your feelings very much, but that's probably the best thing that you could do. You know, the Twitter thinking about this is like, it's like that men need to be lectured. Like, abusive men need to understand that women are people and need to respect them. And it's like, abusive people they're abusive. They're not stupid. It's not something that you can fix by explaining something to them. You have to take the uncomfortable step of empathizing with what's going on there. And I'll never forget my ex looking at me and calmly saying to me, "Why are you punching me in the face?"
This Zoom, the statement, the pause afterwards could be interpreted in two ways, right? Could be he's doing this to have an emotional impact on you. I think to a lot of people, it does what I've been talking about with the stand-up comedian, but for awkwardness thing. This is a good example of that. He does that quite a bit. I think it takes away from his ability to communicate a message to people. If this is meant to be like a moment where we feel for him, I don't think it lands that way. I don't think doing this stuff helps him, but it's a stylistic choice that Max makes. So I can't offer a lot of advice to Max because the stuff that Max does, just like by the very nature of his style, hurts him. So
it was a good question. I'll add, for the sake of honesty and not for the sake of defending myself, that I punched her very lightly in the face, but I did punch her in the face once, and that was her response. Step 2, understand the dynamic. So in my case, hitting women over the next several years from that point on, I think I didn't stop till I...
Also, I want to note this just because other drama correspondents or people in the BIA, they have mentioned to me that it doesn't help him fight against the justification narrative, the narrative that he is using this video as a way to justify, his abuse against other people or abusers more generally when he has statements like that. Because, again, I mentioned he does caveat at several points of the video. He doesn't think it's a justifiable reason. He's not trying to justify there. But it's so easy, and it's the same problem with Steven with his rhetoric, or at least his rhetoric from before. It's so easy to misinterpret you because of the way that you're saying things. So you have to be careful about that. While a line by line can get you off the hook, for me, it doesn't get you off the hook from the public, and the public is not doing a line by line. So like, statements like that aren't helping him with that narrative here.
I was like 30, was a substitute for being listened to. So I didn't feel like I was being empathized with, and everybody plays a part in their relationship dynamics, so I'm not blaming them for that, and I don't know how much they blame me for the things I did, or I don't blame them for the times they hit me. Just shit happens. That's how I see it. I mean, there's extreme circumstances, obviously, but it was a way for me to get them to act like they cared. Now, the problem with doing that, so basically it was like, if you don't care about my feelings, I bet you care about your fucking arm, don't you? Right? And
it's another example of what I was talking about.
Invariably, they do care about their arm. The problem is that at that point, they're just placating you. They don't really care. If they didn't care in the first place about what you wanted to talk about or wanted them to pay attention to, they definitely don't care after you hit them. So you're kind of short-circuiting, like circumventing any real possibility for them to empathize with you, which is a really bad idea. It's super effective in the short term, and it seems like it works. And often it's rewarded with like short-term results. The problem is that you're effectively destroying any chance of you being taken care of at the exact moment that you need it the most. Figuring out what's really going on with you is not easy. It's really tempting to focus on the lead up to the outburst, 5 minutes before, or whatever you were like superficially talking about at the time, whatever you're screaming about as you're punching holes in the wall or slapping your girlfriend or shoving her is probably not really what you're upset about. Because if you knew what you were really upset about, you probably would have done something about it before you snapped. So it's going to be in some area that you're not looking in. It's going to be some subtle interaction you're reacting to without realizing it. And it can be really, really, really tough to figure out. At least it was for me. So that is why you need to, step 3, get help. So people tell me to get help all the time. All right, if you look at the comments, well, you can't because my channel is deleted. But if you look at the comments on this video, if there are any comments or tweets or whatever, you can imagine people would tell me to get help all the time. as if it's just like you just flip a switch and then you're helped. It really doesn't work that way. So when I first came out as an abusive piece of shit woman batterer to my family, I told my father, listen.
So I want to say something before you hear all of this. This get help thing, this get help step, has perhaps the most problems of this entire video, because he mentions the get help thing, but talks about basically how impossible it is to get help. So it's a bit like weird, because he will talk about how he couldn't get help through therapy or through his family or whatever. And so I would listen there and see how helpful this step would be for the people who would be abusing people.
He's a psychologist, understands family dynamics. So I said, hey, every time we come visit you, we end up getting into some physical altercation at your house. After you
At Booksmarts, I don't think that was a good point. The point that I just made, or the point that he's making? I know YouTube has character limits, so I'm not faulting you for making it clear, but I mean, we'll watch this whole thing, and if you mean for me, then I guess we'll see. I'll show you. The difficult thing is if this is meant to be advice for abusers, and he goes through them, but at one of the steps, he only talks about ways that pursuing that step doesn't work, then I don't think that's uber helpful, right? It'd be like if I said, hey, there's 3 steps to fixing an internal problem that you're having. The second step is going to be to journal. I have not been successful at journaling. I always drop off the face of the earth with journaling. The few times that I have journaled, it didn't work for me. So yeah, step 2, step 3, journaling. The next step, and like, okay, well, at this, we would want to worded this differently or presented it differently, right? But I guess we'll see how the whole thing turns out.
go to sleep. When we go back to our room, we're basically fist fighting for like an hour every time we come visit you. And I think partly that's happening because you're so demeaning to me and you mock me and you treat me like a fucking loser in front of her. And she doesn't want to see me that way, and I don't want her to see me that way. And I don't stand up to you, and it's humiliating, and it makes me hate her because she's watching it and she's making me aware of it, and I don't want to face it. So I need you to stop doing that. And he said, oh my gosh, oh wow, oh I had no idea, oh my gosh, oh geez. No change. Endless insults, endless ridicule about my job, my body, my life, my relationship, my everything, my outlook on life, the way I talk, the way I think. And then anything I said about it was like, why do we always have to talk about your feelings, Max? Why are you controlling everything? Why can't you? Complete fucking nightmare. So eventually I realized like this relationship is going to fall apart. I basically have to choose. So I left my family. Now the relationship fell apart later anyways, but I had to leave. I had to, because I could see what kind of person it was turning me into. So then we went to couples therapy, or maybe this was concurrently.
So number one, getting help from the family didn't work. He had to end up just leaving the family. And now we're on to therapy. Let's see how therapy goes in terms of, you remember there's a video about how to help people that are abusing people, and we're meant to give them advice on how to do that. So the family thing didn't work out. Let's see how therapy works out for people who are abusers.
Went to couples therapy, and I think after like 3 weeks, the therapist said, so have you guys been physically violent with each other in the past 6 months? And we both said yes, we've both been violent. And they said, okay, well, we're not going to be able to treat you then.
Okay, I got all of these YouTube comments at once, so I will respond to them. Booksmarts, often when people tell you to get help, they expect you to be cured next time they see you. They often ignore that it's a process that can have backslide and plateauing. I wish you would have answered what I asked you, Kuro, because I still don't know if your initial comment was meant to be at me or at them or What really? And this doesn't really clarify it for me, but thank you for the comment. Shieldro says, I don't think it's just for abusers. It seems to also be for people to realize they might turn into abusers if they don't deal with their own stuff, so they might have something similar inside. He doesn't say that explicitly ever, whereas he does explicitly say that it's for abusers. I think it might be helpful to people who feel like they might have something similar inside. I don't doubt that. But it's not designed for those people. Those people could get something out of it. I'm not arguing with you there, but it's explicitly designed for abusers. So that's why I keep framing it that way, because that's what they said. I meant it wasn't his point. Mobile got me. I meant it wasn't his point. I don't know if it's just Mobile that got you fucked up, Kuro. I'm gonna be honest with you. Kuro was talking about MrGirl's point. I'll just take what Tikraz Gaming said because they chose to word it in a very direct way that I can understand. So I'll just assume you're talking about MrGirl.
Which, of course, I was furious. And I was like, this is like a liability thing. Like, you're afraid that one of us is going to kill the other, and then the family of the survivor is going to sue you. And they're like, oh, no. It's just that therapy is not as effective. It can actually make things worse. Like, okay. Then... And
notice he says, not as effective, but I don't really think he gave what she said that was more effective, which, again, is why I'm saying... And to your point, even if this was somebody who felt like they might have abuse in them, therapy might be good for them. That they're not abusing somebody right now, therapy could be a good thing for them. But his portrayal of it here does not necessarily encourage somebody to do that.
Which, of course, I was furious. And I was like, this is like a liability thing. Like, you're afraid that one of us is going to in the past 6 months. And we both said, yes, we've both been violent. And they said, okay, well, we're not going to be able to treat you then. Which, of course, I was furious in my life. I called... Then...
So... He doesn't say what the alternative is that they offered, which would be helpful to a viewer listening to this, because at this point it seems like therapy is just a dead end and it's not possible. And the going to your family thing, it didn't work either. And so, well, I'm not going to go to my family. It didn't work out for MrGirl. It might not work out for me. I probably won't go to therapy because I guess there's this rule about not hitting them in 6 months, and I beat that bitch yesterday. So there's that out the window. So if he would have mentioned the other thing that she would have recommended, it would be very productive for people to have heard, but he doesn't. And MrGirl seems to have a very complicated relationship with therapy and therapists, because you have his dad, you have this instance of therapy here, you have the instance of couples therapy, which failed for him later with a different partner. So he's not a big fan of therapy, to say the least. And that's a recurring theme that we'll kind of talk about in the final review of this arc with Brittany.
The day that she left me, in probably the worst psychological crisis of my life, I called a bunch of therapists, and one of them on the phone was like, was there any domestic abuse in the relationship? And I said, well, I don't know if it was abuse, but we definitely shoved each other at times. And she was like, I'm not going to be able to help you. So yeah, there's a Los Angeles therapist out there that specializes in anything except domestic violence.
And another point on this that's just occurring to me now. He focuses so much on the ethics and the principles and the constraints that are placed on somebody who is a professional therapist when he's speaking about Dr. K. But I don't hear any kind of thinking about why it is that a therapist or these particular therapists can't help you when you are in an actively abusive relationship here. And that's worrying to me, but not known for consistency, this fella. Can also be easy. Okay. He does literally recommended therapy to everyone on his confessions show. Sure. I'm not saying he doesn't recommend therapy to people. I'm saying he has hangups with therapy, and you could recommend people to therapy and still have hangups with therapy. After all, this is of course nestled under step 3, which is get help. So presumably, I would imagine that he would still expect people to go try and get help for this problem. And if the other commenter is to be believed, and people who aren't yet abusers are watching this, and it's made for them as well, then of course those people could go and get therapy because they haven't engaged in abuse in the last 6 months, right? Mr. Girl is very pro therapy. Okay, so I guess I'll adjust the way I'm talking about it so that it is more digestible to you guys. But like, to be very clear, I am saying not that he's anti-therapy, that he has hang-ups with therapy that come up time and time again when he talks about therapy and his experiences with therapy. I can't say that I've heard Mr. Girl ever speak positively about his personal experiences with therapy. I'm very open to hearing about that, though. If you could link me a time-stamped link of Mr. Girl talking positively about his experiences with therapy, I would like it because it would help me prep for the drama review arc. But as of right now, I have only ever seen him talk about negative experiences that he's had with therapy. I don't doubt that he recommends it to other people, but that's not my point. My point is that he has personal hangups with therapy, and I've never heard him speak positively of the therapy that he's gone through. So if you have that, link it to me, Discord, !Discord, or email it to me, booksmarts.twitch@gmail.com, whichever is better for you. And I'd be happy to add that onto our document. Just timestamped link where he's talking about that. When he is saying talk to your family, he's referring to the root issue for the abuse. It can be different and more resolvable for others. Okay, that's one way of interpreting it, sure. But then I think titling this section "Get Help" is a bit off then, no? Let me check my notes real quick for the names of all the sections. So he has why. Actually, let me go ahead and open up the our Google Doc here, because our Google Doc should have all of the labels here. We have step 1, why do you do it? Step 2, understand the dynamics. Step 3, get help. Step 4, fuck your guilt. And that appears to be it. I feel like labeling it "get help" then seems to not be very good. So if that's really what he means, because he doesn't really say that, then I would say that he should probably relabel the section. Therapy is so broad. Therapists in practice absolutely have their preferences on who they want to treat based off of information they're able to gather. I wonder if he was referred elsewhere. Yeah, because the other lady, it seemed to have mentioned to him something else that he could do, but he doesn't include that. It's left out. What is your advice on controlling anger and dealing with anger issues? Oh, I don't know, bro. I think you need to breathe. You probably need to remove yourself from the situation. And if you're partners with somebody who never lets you remove yourself from the situation, you need to not be partners with that person, probably. Because one thing, and it comes up in other videos of Mr. Girls, is he does the thing that would make him a nightmare of a person to date Steven. It feels like when he gets into these situations where he would otherwise be abusive, it seems to me that he wants to force the other person to deal with and confront the issue immediately, and resolve it immediately, or he is not satisfied. Whereas I feel like oftentimes when you're in this situation where you are that emotional and stuff, my instinct, what I do in relationships, what I would advise other people to do, is to remove yourself from the situation, go away. But then you have people like, I think one person in the news right now who does this, that kind of force you to be in this situation, are very mad when you leave. And I think that that's a bigger problem than the person who is leaving. So not to say the person who's leaving can't be a problem, because sometimes it is a problem. If you constantly leave and you never ever address anything ever, then that's bad too. But you know, okay, there are definitely clips of him speaking positively of his own therapy experiences, but I am too gaming to find them right now. Well, send them to me, because I don't take what you guys are saying seriously too much unless I have seen it or you link it to me. So I won't make any edits to our document if we're not given evidence to the contrary, but I believe that it exists. If you said it's existed, I just need to see it to publish it. I get the "we are all more alike than not" vibe that he has in some other videos from this video also. I never got the sense that this video is only for abusers, but yeah, it's not overtly stated. Not only is it not overtly stated, the opposite is overtly stated, which is why I'm sticking with it. And that's also how I run the drama team. If you have a hunch about something, you have to say it's a hunch. But if somebody else has a hunch about something, it's backed by the literal words of the person that made the video, I'm going with the words of the person that made the video. And that's just an editorial decision that I would make. If mutual abusers can't get a therapist, if they bring it up, that doesn't seem good. So I can kind of get why he complains about him not being able to find a therapist. I get why he complains. It's just, again, I think I need to take 3 breaths because now I'm getting frustrated. Hold on. And this is what I suggest you do. If you get angry, you get upset, just slow things down. Go to your happy place. So, to reiterate, because I have a thing about repeating myself. It gets annoying. And like MrGirl, I get aggressive if I'm not being heard. He states, and I quote, "If you have a similar problem or even an analogous problem, I'm hoping this video can help me." Oh, you. When I'm talking about things, I'm talking about things because of what I have quotes to support. If the point of this entire section is to be reflected in the title of it, which is "Get Help," and it's for abusers, that what he's doing here, again, this is like if you're writing a paper about global warming and you're meant to be pro-global warming, and it's a persuasive essay on why global warming is real, and then in the middle of it you have a paragraph about climate science that isn't real, and you're not using it as a counter argument, you just randomly have it in there. If I'm your essay editor, I'm going to circle it, and I'm going to go, hey, this isn't helping your thesis point, this is counter to it.
Don't get
do
stunlocked.
this.
I want to see the Deepak content.
Okay. I'm ignoring you guys. I'm ignoring you. I won't get stun locked. Okay, I'll continue. I agree with removing yourself from the situation, but I think nope. I can't with you. I've given you so much of my attention, my energy, and if you don't understand me or you want to continue with it, then I suggest that you use a donation to tell me whatever thing it is that you have to say, because I've been paid to do otherwise. All right, let's continue. I'll Rochambeau all the way to the end for that 15.
That's very... My point is, it's not easy to get help. And not only just because people don't want to help you, as I said, it's a complicated problem, because if you're at the point where you're being violent with the person who you supposedly love the most, it probably means that your whole life is fucked up. Shit that you think is unrelated, like your job, your family, your relationship with yourself, just the way you're thinking and interacting with like almost everything, it's all so fucked up that it's come to a head and now you're snapping. And you gotta fix all that shit, and it's pretty daunting. However, if I did it, so can you. Step 4, fuck your guilt. I know you feel guilty. I know you want me to feel guilty. I don't think guilt is that useful, obviously. Largely, I think it's an illusion of control. I just don't think you have as much control over yourself as most people seem to think they do, and least of all when you're snapping. And I think that it takes 2 to tango. It's not like most people are punching their partner in the face on the first.
So I have huge problems with this section here. I understand the wording of it, and if it's only in the context of helping abusers and whatever, I kind of get it. However, I don't know. I got paid to not, take time, so I'll just keep playing it. Fuck it, dude.
State. It's usually part of a complex dynamic that both people are feeding into. Psychologically, it's too complicated to blame on just one person or assign the fault to just one person. Morally, I guess that's up to you. I think that's complicated too. And then legally, it's your fault, obviously. So you're risking your freedom by being violent, and you have to change. You have to stop, because it's really not good for anybody. I'm going to tell you something that my 80-year-old training client told me at the time when I was getting divorced. Without me mentioning any of this, she said, Max, if you ever got really mad at her, and you ever shook her, or shoved her around, or slapped her around a little bit, don't you ever feel bad about that. Because that's hot. That's passion, baby. That's sexy. And it was really nice to hear, because...
Now, it may have been nice to hear, but this doesn't talk about the reasons that somebody does it. It maybe touches on the passionate sex or romantic, period that happens afterwards when you both are looking at the evil and fighting it together. But I have a lot of problems with this. We'll get into it at the end. I'll let the video continue playing, and then we'll just round up through it.
When you're abusive, you're an abuser. You're a piece of shit. You're subhuman trash who deserves to lose your job and your family. And I was gonna say when I was writing this, your YouTube channel, but that was a few days ago. And I guess I'll just say it still, because your Vimeo channel doesn't have the same. I can probably lose that too by the time this goes up. But anyway, now that we're free to say anything, I will also add that one thing that confounds all of this is that I have definitely noticed some arousal in women after being violent towards them. And that's confusing when the person that you're hitting is naked with their legs spread 20 minutes later. It definitely reinforces the dynamic and then ties it to sex in like a really weird way. It makes it pretty hard to break the cycle. But that's what you have to do. I mean, no matter what happens, even if you feel like your partner is encouraging it, you got to break the cycle. That's all it is. And that's pretty much all I have to say.
Well, good. Okay, we're not doing the creepy thing. I will end this by going through some of my notes. The get help equals avoid situations as a catalyst for abuse. It's not worded well. I'm shenanigansing it because I feel like I've already explained myself. I've explained that it's not titled well, if that's what you think. If we take the title at its face value, it's not doing good with the points that are in it. Again, if I put this in essay terms, it's like the sentence at the very beginning of your paragraph has nothing to do or is antithetical to what you talk about inside your paragraph. And if you're telling me, well, Booksmarts, maybe if the first sentence was this other thing, so there's a mismatch here, right? Either one or the other is wrong, and you guys are bouncing between these two things, and I want you to understand that, there's just a mismatch here between what is purported in the main part, in the title of the section, and what is being executed in the section itself. If you want to retitle it, then it will fit what's going in there. But in any case, there should be a change. Max is misunderstood all the time. And you have to realize that these misunderstandings they can stem from things like this, right? So it's not a debate or an argument about what the original intent is or anything like that, or a way to read between the lines to see this, that, or the other. We're looking at it for what it is, and I'm pointing out problems with what it is and places where things aren't aligning, right? So that's what I'll say about that before I put a shenanigans on it, because I'm going to repeat myself, and then I'll get very upset with you guys. And I don't want to do that, because then I'll start abusing you, and I'll fucking grab your fucking arms and shake you until you listen to me, you fucks. All right? You're pushing me to be abusive, chat. And you know what? If you're trying to listen to him and understand him in this video, you seem to be failing to understand that it takes two to tango. And right now, you're fucking salsa dancing, okay? And you're begging me, and I'm not going to do it, okay? Because even if I think that you fucking asked for it, I'm not going to give it to you, okay? Because I have to break the cycle, and that's what I'm doing, okay? So I'm done with you. I'm not responding to you like that. Here are my thoughts. It seems to me that the before is focused on violence, and if we click this before, then we'll get to that.
And I used to be like you. I used to fantasize about beating up men who beat up women.
Right, it's this part here. The before is focused on violence, both against the partner and the abuser, whereas the after is a focus on the underlying causes, which you are avoiding due to fear and not sweeping them away. So to anybody who says that this is for, the average person, this would be the average person appeal. That in one, we're focused on the violence itself, and in the other, we're kind of focused on the causes that lead to violence. And he wants to shift your focus not just from mischaracterizing people or simplifying them or essentializing them because they're violent with people, and instead to look at the root causes of that violence, to be a little bit more empathetic there, right? He encourages us to empathize with abusers, to understand why they do what they do. He didn't feel empathized with, right? Mr. Girl's issue with therapy and couples therapy stems from their unwillingness to help when he was in an ongoing abusive relationship. And I even word it very carefully in here, and I'm trying to word it very carefully with you guys. I've only heard him have issues with therapy and couples therapy. If, again, I'm open to the other links, but that is my impression from what little I've seen of him. While I agree that most people don't have as much control as they think they do, especially when snapping, the idea that it takes two to tango is a dangerous one, right? As I kind of hopefully exemplified here. While we cannot assign all the fault to one person, we need to really be careful about overcorrecting our empathy simply because we used to be an abuser or understand an abuser. I don't think presuming the other person feeds into it and should be expected to be culpable is a solid assumption all the time. And beyond that, I'll put an addendum to this and say it could be a dangerous one. It's helpful for a therapist to consider when evaluating how to help with this situation, or giving advice in this situation, right? Because I'm sure there's things that one side of the equation could change to help avoid these situations. But I think it's equivocating the two in an uncomfortable way. And I think we need to be careful about that. And he needs to be careful about that. Now, in terms of optics, focusing on the reasons someone harms their partner can easily be construed as saying harming a partner is reasonable, right? And he puts in those messages to kind of counteract that, but a lot of people are going to miss that, right? And let me make sure you guys can read this. Okay, you definitely can. It's not reasonable despite understanding their reasons, right? It's an unreasonable and inadvisable response to issues. And I think he makes that clear at the end about jail and stuff like that. And he did also when he said that it doesn't mean that it's a good reason, doesn't mean it makes it okay. But it's something that I think people are going to get confused about and struggle with. So optically, it's a bit of a problem. The reasons or issues themselves can be valid, whilst your response of beating your partner is not. And if this is emphasized a little bit more, I think it could have helped people to stomach it. ContraPoints would probably do a much better job of this, right? Because of her style. While I get the point of what the woman told him about the abuse being hot or sexy, the underlying message about not feeling bad about it because it's hot or sexy, which is the point of what she told him, is disgusting to me. I am much more apt to jump on board his idea that there are issues beneath the surface of rage that must be understood and addressed, but the idea that the abuse itself is sexy and passionate and that's why you shouldn't feel bad is not great. So I do have more here. I was going to say, I have a lot more than what's written here in terms of problems with this story. When he goes on and contrasts this with the dehumanizing characterization, I agree that's not an empathetic approach, but this way overcorrects in a toxic direction. Even if it felt good to him to hear someone who didn't turn him into a monster for having this problem. I get the point of including it is that one person finally humanized him and finally told him that he's not a monster for doing what he did. However, people can get lost, and this is why this is in optics. People can get lost on that being the point or just straight up not care that that's the point, because what other abuser people that are listening might hear or might take away from it is different than what he is communicating. And without a ton of emphasis on this to correct for that misinterpretation, you're leaving it up to chance that people aren't going to interpret this in a negative way against you. And that's why this is in the optics category. I don't know if including this story is super helpful. It could have been included in a different way that makes it more clear that, you know, she says that, but that sex and stuff doesn't make it okay. It certainly made it hard to stop doing, as he says, you know, later. But the way that he communicates it just does not it doesn't do good at dispelling concerns about that. So there's another optics point here. Are you trying to look at this through the Booksmarts lens, the abuser who wants to be reformed lens, or just the general viewer? We're going all over the place, baby. We're doing all the lenses. We're going full spectrum, love. We're going full spectrum. Now, another thing that I want to do is consider these things here. The purpose. I want to improve communication. Therefore, we have the optics section. And we had some notes about ways he could have done things, like changing the header of point number 3 or changing the examples in it, one or the other. It's like having a topic sentence that doesn't match with your paragraph or your evidence, right? That's a problem. How you fix that problem is up to you, right? So improving communication, that's one thing I want to do to answer cyber. Help these people achieve their goals. I want to help MrGirl help abusers. I do. I want to help MrGirl humanize abusers. I do, which is why the advice in here is written the way that it is. It's not that I'm looking through a bunch of different lenses so much as I'm really trying to help this person communicate and do what they're looking to do. That's what I hope to apply to the other conversations that we look at in this drama team, Booksmarts intelligence agency sponsored arc, right, where we're looking at all of the MrGirl and Brittany stuff. So I want to help these people achieve their goals. Recognize their grievances. So if MrGirl says, I don't like that you misinterpreted me here, here, and here, or whatever, then we go and we address those and we see if he was misinterpreted and why and how, and try to give some credence to that. Or like Brittany in later conversations, to give you a little bit of a spoiler, we look at her opinions on why it went wrong and what went wrong, what she wanted to accomplish, right? So we look at their grievances. We deconstruct public sentiment. So that's a lot of what I'm doing here. You're probably going to be misinterpreted by people, and you are misinterpreted by people because of this, this, and this, and these things said this way. And finally, to explain personal sentiment. How do I feel about things? And why do I feel that way about things? Why does the drama team correspondents feel that way about things? Why does the intelligence agency come up with the things that they come up with, right? And that's why if you join the drama team, which you can get info about by doing !drama team, basically just DM me or email me that you want to be a part of it, you want to contribute. Not only can you help on drama like this, you can also help me with news stories. Right now, I think we have 3 different news stories on mainstream politics that are being worked on all in tandem by people who pitched the idea to me, told me about how it could be a Booksmartsy branded thing to do, and then they're helping me on sources and writing it and really figuring out how we're going to tell this story. So if you have an idea of a conversation, a topic in the news, something like that, something you'd want to educate people on that you think would be good for Booksmarts, let me know, DM me, become a part of the drama team, and we'll work together and we'll collaborate on making that happen. So if that interests you, you can do !Discord to join the Discord and head over there and hang out with me. And again, my DMs are open to anybody who's on the server. So if you're on the server, then you could, oops, I'm a dumb fuck. Then you could join and, send your ish to me. I look forward to that. So that is the end of this segment. Let me make sure we don't have anything else we're supposed to do. I don't think we hit our $200 DPAC goal, although I'm open to being wrong on that. Let's see here. 185, so not quite. Again, we had $200 for the DPAC thing, which is okay. We don't have to do that. I will save that for another day then. Thank you to everybody who supported the stream today. Big support today. We are nearly, 10% of the way there to the 2,000 that I need to move. So that's great progress. All the donations that came through Streamlabs today, I'm putting in my bank account and then putting in the savings account, and it will immediately get saved for that. That brings us up to 190 from Solivola. Let's hear what Solivola has to say.
Also, Booksmarts has a super cool Minecraft server in his Discord. Check it out. +1 to Deepak.
There you go. So actually it's +5 to Deepak. Yeah, we do. We have a cool Minecraft server. We also have a bunch of clubs on the Discord. Let's go ahead and actually, because you so kindly donated, I'll go ahead and give you something for those $5. We'll look at our calendar for today. Actually, our calendar for the upcoming week. Hopefully the club leaders are posting the calendars. If you don't, you're missing out on a sponsored opportunity on the stream. Which that's you're lost, bud. So you can get this by doing !calendar. Here are the dates for the upcoming month and stuff. So at 2 p.m. Today, I guess this is in my time. At 2 p.m. we had a movie club discussion. At 11 a.m. tomorrow, my time, or no, this is in Pacific time. So at 2 p.m. Pacific, we have movie club discussion. At 11 a.m. Pacific, we have anime club meeting. And then on Monday through Wednesday, we have movie club submissions and voting. Cooking club allegedly has meetings that they do not post in here. Book club allegedly has meetings that they do not post in here. So if you are a part of book club or cooking club and you want to see your club events plugged on the channel, ask your fucking leader to do the bare minimum of doing their contributions to the calendar, because all of them have access to the calendar. Every single club leader has access to the calendar. It's merely a matter of whether or not your club leader is lazy and doesn't do the bare minimum of posting their event to the calendar. So there is the call out for those people not posting their shit to the calendar. Cooking Club does submissions every 2 weeks. So next week on Sunday, they'll do their submissions. But yeah, that's something to consider, club leaders. Get on your shit. Like rain. Get on your shit. Whoa. Big dono inbound.
I don't donate much, but this should cover a year's worth of fandom. Keep up the good work, Book. We believe in you.
Thank you, JH. JH, I think you had a bit of a sad story earlier, so I'm very, very, very happy to get the 100. That is very, very cool of you. I do appreciate it. You're on YouTube, so that does not count towards the donation goal. So you still have saved us from getting more Deepak content. So I appreciate you donating on there. YouTube takes 33% of everything that I make, just about. So that's why they don't count towards my dono goal, because Streamlabs takes nothing. But thank you. Yeah, that's huge. That should cover a year's worth of fandom for sure. If you've been watching a year, I'm happy to have had you on for a year. And if you normally don't make it to the live streams and you watch the VO Megalo D's nuts, bro. You're a Giga Chad. $100. I do appreciate that. That's ginormous. I hope to put out more content for you. It's not that I want to quit this. It's just that, I have to be an adult. I have to be real. If I don't make money doing this, I can't keep doing this. I think there are a lot of people out there like you, JH, who maybe have been enjoying for a while, could definitely contribute if they wanted to, but they forget, or they're lazy, or, I just don't ask enough. And so I need to be better about asking, and I think I have to. Oof, yikes, I'll donate in Twitch chat next time. Yeah. I actually, the shitty thing about YouTube is they don't tell you that that's the case. I didn't learn that until I audited my payments from Google, because I was like, weird. I know I made more than my payment from Google this month. Why is that? And I calculated it. The first time I calculated it, I think 50% of my projected earnings were missing. The second time I calculated it, it was closer to 30 to 40. And then when I Googled it, they said that Google ends up taking 30%. The other problem is, if you're on iPhone or something like that, the App Store, I believe, takes a percentage of what it is that you're paying to me. So depending on what platform or what phone you're using and stuff, actually, those companies can also take a bunch of money from whatever you're donating. And so that's fucked too, which is why I advise everybody just use !dono. Use the Streamlabs donation link. So yeah, I love Booksmarts. He's a ruthless capitalist. I mean, I don't fuck around with you, bruh. I'm real with you. Hey, honest to God, if you're a lefty and you're about workers' rights and all that shit, and I'm a small content creator, you should be sympathetic to like, dude, I need money to live. I'm not Hassan. This isn't for like my next fucking car, right? This isn't for fucking Gucci shirts. What do I wear on stream all the time? The sponsor people who gave me my shirts into the AM. Like I literally wear shirts that other people have bought for me. The last time I bought a shirt was like, oh God, I don't know. I bought these shirts that were on sale from like an artist lady on Twitter. And before that, I can't remember the last time. Maybe when I went to Goodwill with Cherry, I bought that like blue collared shirt, but I bought it for stream, you know, like same with these pants. I bought them at Goodwill. Wait, no, not these ones. These ones were gifted to me. They're a Christmas gift. But you know, like I'm not spending the money on like extravagant bullshit. So it's like, yeah, if you're for worker solidarity, the whole point of worker solidarity is to guarantee workers like basic shit. And so you are the employer for me, and you have the ability to guarantee me basic shit. So if you're a lefty even, I think you should be compelled to support the content that you're watching, you know? So dude just dropped $100 and still doesn't get Deepak. It is what it is. Streamlabs doesn't add it to our thing. Katz Nelson in the Discord is actually working on a program that should add all of those to a donation meter, but it's not done yet. You know, I don't want Deepak. That money is for you solely. Ha. I like how Marty Moose is sitting here trying to make the case for you, JH, and you're like, I don't want to fucking watch Deepak, bro. Get the fuck out of here. Don't count my money towards that. It's for you, baby. And 33% for Twitch, but mostly for you, baby. I appreciate it. And you're getting me off the hook early. You're the best kind of boss. You're like, Booksmarts, go home for the day. You work hard, kid. I love that. I love seeing that out of you. Why don't you walk that fine little ass on out of here so I got a view before I finish this work? You know, thanks. I like that. I'm here for you, baby. Thank you, JH. Thank you. Oh no, I don't watch you much, but good luck, bro.
I don't watch you much. Good luck, bro.
Thank you. I do appreciate it. Well, should that count? Fuck. Hold on. Before you go, do you want that to count towards the goal or nah? Oh no. Does this person want that to count towards the goal? No, I want to go, dude. I'm so tired. Get donated. No, have him donate again. Count it. No. It's up to him. If I hear from that motherfucker in the chat, he says no, we're not doing it, bro. I'm so tired. You know what? Here's what I'll do. Sit your bird ass down and cover. Wow, this motherfucker, the audacity. Here's what I'll do. Compromise. I'm Booksmarts. I love a good compromise. That's what I like. I'll compromise with you. You'll get your Deepak. I'll pump you full of Deepak. I'll pop this nose all over your face, okay? But you are going to have to wait. You're going to have to wait and watch tomorrow. Looks like rain! Because JH has voted against Deepak.
This 20 goes against the Deepak.
Wow. And JH donated that 100 to cover their whole year of watching me. And they decided to go out of their way with another 20 just to rob you of your Deepak purchase. Granted, they did it on Super Chat. But after having this whole thing about Super Chat, however, there you go. That's even more the reason for doing it tomorrow. So we will cover Deepak versus Knowles tomorrow. Look forward to that. I will try to go live at a reasonable time for our American friends. So that'll probably be around 2 or or 3 p.m.-ish Eastern Standard Time, maybe close to 5-ish Eastern Standard Time. We'll see how my host schedule is. And I'll let you guys know on the Discord. Join the Discord, !Discord, or click the link in the video description. It's been cool hanging out with you guys. I hope you've enjoyed this YouTube exclusive story. Hooting and hollering at that light compromise. Yeah. I'll watch it on Twitch tomorrow. Yeah, we'll be on Twitch, luckily, because neither of them are banned. Oh, what's this?
Hear about the economic crisis in Sri Lanka.
No.
You're a fat person of mine, but I shouldn't send money overseas when our inflation's this bad. Hope to contribute more in the future. Bonus meme.
Oh, what is this bonus meme? I wonder what it is. Let's check this out. All right, USD to Sri Lanka thing. Holy moly. That's large. That's a lot. Wowee. Okay. Yeah, I've heard about it. So, NPR did a little segment about the inflation there and the pandemic and how it's impacted. So I believe it's about Sri Lanka. So you guys don't even have reserves anymore, and you're trying to get dollar reserves. So you're encouraging people from Sri Lanka to put US dollars in the bank, any US dollars that you have, so that the country can use that foreign currency to buy the imports that are necessary for the country and to pay off debt and stuff, because they have plenty of Sri Lanka money, but their foreign reserves have run out, right? Am I recalling that correctly? Definitely correct me if I'm wrong, because you've probably been more educated on the topic than me. But that is my understanding of the situation there. In which case, yeah, I mean, I totally understand wanting to put US dollars back into your country and stuff. Actually, after hearing this story, I was almost tempted a little bit. I don't actually care, but if you're tired, you should sleep. I'm definitely just going to sleep, because I won't do a good job for you guys if I'm tired anyways, and it can wait till tomorrow. It's not a time-sensitive thing. But anywho, with that, I will leave you. Thank you for contributing. Thank you for supporting. I appreciate all love today. I'll come up with some interesting stretch goals tomorrow. That way we don't just have this giant, goal for housing, that we have the daily goals. That was advice given to me in the Discord. We will have those daily goals. I'll try to make them more achievable, maybe something at 50 and then something at 100, especially since we got so much more support than I anticipated today. But yeah, I'll come up with that. I'll keep working at this. Hopefully, again, through my pushing of things every day, we can make this a more financially stable thing, so that I can consider continuing to do it after summertime, and we hit our goal and I get my house, and yeah, we'll be good to go. Maybe one day I'll get a dog. Maybe one day we'll be so financially successful that I can have a dog and start living the American dream. We'll see. But with that, I leave you guys. I will talk to you later. Book, I said favorite person, not fat. The text speech fucked it. I know. I was fucking with you. I did read it. It is funny that it said fat, though. But I love you. I love you too, Kuro, in the most pure parasocial way possible. It's probably some God-forbidden time in Europe, so get some sleep, bud. It's only 10:51, but yeah, there's still some sun in the sky. It's kind of nutty, but I will go to bed now. I'll talk to you guys later. Goodbye.